won't fade. The truth won't fade. Shadows creeping, truth ain't sleeping. Whispers loud, no room for doubt. Chains rattling, hearts unraveling behind the veil where stories shout. True crime warriors, seekers of light through the dark, through the night. Truth and transparency, battle and fight. True crime warriors, chasing what's right. Coffee stains on broken dreams, unfiltered tales bursting at seams. Jewelers juggling, cane bees grind. Outcasts rising, justice to find. In the Bronx tale where the stories weave, in the indie zone where hearts believe. True crime warriors, seekers of light through the dark, through the night. Truth and transparency, battle and fight. True crime warriors, chasing what's right. Birdies chirp in the morning haze. Lucy's thoughts in a convict's maze. Pavarotti echoes a haunting serenade through dark decoders. The truth won't fade. The truth won't fade.
Drop the guitars, truth moderators in the mix. Heavy bass hit your chest like a ton of bricks. Brandy B, Christy with the Nevada glow. Seahawks fan, tomboy charm, let the rhythm flow. Mama bear vibes, Molly Drek in the den. SRB Zelda casting spells with a pen. Sassy Cassie Rach, Lucia J in the booth. Wrench wrecking crew, they the moderators of truth. True blue crew, wrench in the game. Breaking all the rules, never staying the same. Moonlit baby, typically unique. Busy cake rising, let the truth spit. Cat K, Meg P. Leah story unfolds. Bonnie Bailey, Lucy Morningstar bold. From the shadows to the stage, they spark the flame. Each line they drop redefines the name. Randy Fur with the claws, cutting through the noise. True blue crew, real talk, no decoys. Sassy but savage, the truth they pursue. Wrench wrecking crew, it's what they do.
Moonlit skies, truths collide. Shatter illusions, no place to hide.
Typically unique, fizzy cake sweet. Steady on the grind, never taste defeat. and Christian Nevada. Seahawks ride, tomboy charm, mama bear pride. Blue Cruise in the house, feel the sound, bass shakes the earth, we're unbound. Moonlit baby, typically unique, voices rise with the words you see. With the words you see. With the words you see. Molly Drip, Sassy Cassie, they don't play. Rax and Alicia J clearing the way. Randy first stomps, a quake in the ground. Fizzy cake laughs, chaos all around. Leah Story spins the tales. Bonnie Bailey howls. Lucy Morning Stars, light breaks the cloud. Blue Cruise in the house, feel the sound. Bass shakes the earth, we're unbound. Moonlit baby, typically unique. Voices rise with the words you seek. With the words you seek. With the words you seek. Cat K shouts, truths are creed. SRB Zelda, hearts that bleed. Sassy Cassie sparks the flame. We're all here. Remember the name. 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 Truth ain't simple, ain't so clear. Moderators in the rear, steering the fear. Brandy B sharp, like a blade in the night. Christine Nevada with that tomboy fight. Mama Bear claws, Molly Drake's fire. Sassy Cassie spitting truth like a choir. SRB Zelda sword in the air. Raging Alicia J breaking every snare. Blue Crew ran tracking. Voices loud, no second guessing. Moonlit baby howling high. Typically unique, rising to the sky. Blue Crew ran tracking. Fizzy cake spark, ignite intention. Cat Kaylee, a story taking no blame. Bonnie Bailey, Lucy Morning Star, burning the flame. Hey, burning the flame. Hey. Randy Fur, fists in the storm. Sister Pre-Meg P with a heart that's warm. They don't back down, they don't fade away. Truth is the anthem they play every day. Seahawks fan, but the fight ain't a game. I'm a bear roars, ain't tame, ain't the same. Wrench in the gears of the liars and fakes. Breaking the chains for the real it takes. Blue Crew ran tracking. Voices loud, no second guessing. Moonlit baby howling high. Typically unique, rising to the sky. Blue Crew ran tracking. Fizzy cake spark, ignite intention. Cat Kaylee, a story taking no blame. Bonnie Bailey, Lucy Morning Star, burning the flame. Yeah. Burning the flame. Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the cafe today, guys. Great to see you all in the house. Thank you for joining us. We are open for business. Thank you to my moderators. Jumping in here, doing what they do on a regular basis. They are the wrecking crew, that's for sure, as you heard loud and clear. Thank you guys for everything you do. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Again, hit that like button on your way through the door. Share this out. Let everybody know what we're doing today. We are jumping into the Charlie Kirk situation. What in the hell is going on in that mess, folks? So we are looking into that a little bit deeper than what I did when I initially covered it. It's about time. I'm pretty sure we're going to be joined by Jesse Schul here shortly. So I am looking forward to it for sure. Make sure again to hit the like button, share it out, let everybody know what we're getting into today, if you will, if you could, because you know you should. Thank you so very much. That being said, you guys know what comes next. Let's do this thing.
Neon lights flicker like broken halos. Whispers gather in the smoke-filled air. Tables carved with secrets and shadows. Every story's a wound laid bare. The kettle's boiling with restless rage. Justice written on an unseen page. I sip the silence, bitter taste, waiting for the ghosts to show their face. At the True Crime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betrayed. Mirrors cracked, reflections are liars. Ashes fall where the guilty once stood. The jukebox hums like a funeral choir. Echoes pounding through the neighborhood. Every scar is a candlelit vow. We hunt the how, we demand the now. No more silence, no more disguise. We'll paint the night with sharpened cry. At the True Crime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betray. This is not a sermon, it's a battlefield hymn, a requiem dripping from the bottle's rim. The guilty write stories in invisible ink, but we'll drag it all up from the edge of the brave. At the True Crime Cafe, the reckoning burns like a black bouquet. Every shadow will pay. In the True Crime Cafe.
All right. Here we are back in the house, guys. Thank you for being here today with us. I do appreciate each and every one of you so very much. We're heading down the Charlie Kirk hole today, guys, because it is one hell of a rabbit hole. That's for damn sure. And we're going to be looking into what exactly we think is going on in this situation, because there are so many different thoughts, theories, feelings, opinions. Wow, there's a lot. That is a fact, guys. And please don't mind me today. There's a lot going on in the background here. They're doing cookies, baking cookies and stuff. So My camera's probably going to go off and on a lot today, so please don't think twice about it. Welcome in, guys. Again, thank you, SRB, for that as well. Very much appreciated, guys. Something never expected by any means to be in this channel, but it's very helpful, especially these times of months when these bills come due. For anybody that chooses to support our show via Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, that helps me pay the bills to keep this moving. So thank you, SRB, for that. And them bills are coming due, folks. And I have a new internet service that's definitely a little bit more expensive, so I got to keep it moving. So come on in, grab a seat, get comfortable. Let's see who we got here. Captain Jenks in the house. Good to see you again, brother. Welcome back. Great to have you back in the house with us. Hemisphere, welcome to you, my friend. SRBBB. Great to see you, too. The last 24, Mike's in the house. Good to see you, bro. Cat's Meow. Doug Cat's Meow, welcome to you. Great to see you today. Rowena, welcome back to you, dear. Beach Babe, welcome back. Great to see you today. Thank you for joining us. And Jesse Schul's picks in the house. Great to see Jesse. Hopefully he'll be joining me here shortly up here. Miss Paula, the positive one, always happy to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Senior Wazowski, I did get your email, sir. I responded as well. Thank you for that, bro. Very much appreciated. Miss Trish Crow, it's been a minute. Good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. Grateful to have you in the house. Kaleida Hope, welcome back to you. Of course, Miss Tandy on her lunch break. Go joining us. Great to have her in the house. As always, where's the bomb toy? Where's the bomb toy? Meanie, welcome. Good to see you, Meanie. Thank you for joining us. Let me see. Who am I missing in here? If anybody. Miss Diane Draper. Great to see you. Lisa Winchester, welcome back to you as always. George Stewart, same to you, my friend. Miss Teresa, great to see you first in the house today. Again, guys, please share this out. Let everybody know what we're doing and hit that like button on the way through the door. Let's get this into an algorithm. Miss Dorothy, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Cat Lady, the Canadian Cat Lady, welcome back to you. Always happy to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Excuse me. I think I got everybody so far. Good to see you, bro. Again, thank you for that, SRB. I think I got everybody. If I did miss you, I will catch up with you guys. I promise you I will. Come on in, grab a seat, get comfortable if you will. Please and thank ya. Do appreciate you all very, very much. Senior Wazowski, great to see you, bro. Always happy to have you in the house. Let's see here. Come on in, grab a seat, get comfortable if you will. Plenty to delve into this case, guys. The Charlie Kirk assassination has become quite a prolific situation. Way too much to talk about. Way too much to delve into, and we're going to do that just as much as we do in Idaho. We are going to do it. That is for sure. Yes, somebody asked me earlier if I had gotten a haircut. I did cut my hair again. I haven't received any info back on Outcast if it's tonight or tomorrow. I don't know for sure yet, Ro. I'm hoping he'll reach back out to me soon so that I can get an answer as to which day. He doesn't use the mode of communication that we used too often. I need a better way to get in touch with him, but hopefully I'll hear from him soon, as well as Logan from Bronx Tale for Saturday. I'm hoping soon to solidify both of those shows that entertain you guys the best I can. There is a lot, Cap. You are not lying on that one, brother. A whole lot. Lacey 7556 in the house. Good to see you tonight there today. Thank you so much. There you go. I have lights on my face. Any better? There we go. Yes. Somebody send Outcast some smoke signals. Tell them to get a hold of me so we can solidify our day for sure. Either way, it is going to be a late show. 8:30, 9:30 at night. Just so you guys know. We'll be having our late hours open late that night. So It is 100% what it's from. That's why I'm trying to move around. Miss Kim's in the house. Great to see her. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad to hear you're listening. Appreciate you very much. Let's see here. Very possibly, Mike. All right, guys, let's give this a few minutes to see who else we got jumping in here before we get kicking. Robert Bell, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Watched your show last night about Brianna. That young, beautiful girl did not jump off that balcony. Dylan saying that may have placed her body down, made me laugh. Right. Yes, she's doing good, Kim. Thanks for asking, hon. She's doing good. She's making cookies right now as we speak. So I do agree with you, Robert, on your statement there, my friend. Craziness. Absolute craziness. Thank you again, Kim, for asking about Brandy. I appreciate that very much. Looks like we got 49 peeps in the house, guys. 35 likes. We're catching up for sure. Share it out, guys. Let everybody know what we're doing. Maybe we can get this into the algorithm. Bry Guy's in the house. Good to see you, Brian. I knew you'd jump in for this one, sir. Great to have you here. Speedy, welcome to you. Thanks for joining us. Miss Krista's good to joining us too. Good to hear. Miss Cassie, hello. Sassy one. Good to see you. Yes, oh man, this is James Bond meets the Matrix after Top Gun. Good way to put it, Mikey. I can agree. I mean, Brian, I agree with you. Add in the Manchurian Candidate and Batman 2. 100%, brother. Exactly the reason why we're delving into it, buddy. As soon as Jesse jumps in here, he's making himself some coffee and some food, so he's ready to go because it's probably in the middle of the night over there for him. So, welcome, Fall Store. Good to see you today. Thank you, Brian, for the update on Miss Krista. Good day, everybody. Great to have you all here. I love it. Lance has not been seen in weeks. Who is Lance? Who are we talking? Who are we talking about, Brian? Oh, yeah. Yes, sorry. Lance Twigs, gotcha. Forgot about that. Yeah, it makes you wonder what's going on with Robinson, his family, his boyfriend. Definite questions, you guys. Definite questions. It has something to do with the how active that they are in the chat or something like that. Cap, I never have understood it since they started doing it. It's newer, somewhat newer. Just saying.
Which one was it?
1 minute here.
Oh, geez, that's forever.
1 minute. One. All right.
I haven't seen it in a long time. Wait.
It shows who runs their mouth the most. Good point, Mike. Good way to put it. That's what a lot of people are saying there, Robert. That's for sure. I have my own questions about it. We're going to delve into today, too. Smiling Sleuth, welcome to you. Looks like we got 62 peeps in the house, 41 likes. We're getting there. Keep them coming, guys. Share it out. Hit the like button, please, and thank you. Cassie made herself laugh. That's pretty good, Cass.
That's why we get the evil side.
I am doing yes. Jesse's gonna join us, I know for sure. And of course, Cap, you're more than welcome to join us as well. The link has been at the top of the chat. Definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. For sure. There's a lot of questions we have. A lot of things that don't line up in this, just like something else we know. There's a lot of parallels. It's sad too to say it, but there truly are a lot of parallels with the Idaho 4 case, with this case. Completely different circumstance, yes. But parallels as far as the investigation or their lack of goes is what I'm saying. Same with the Brianna Aguilera that I covered last night. That case as well has some parallel investigational issues, in my opinion. Big Red Faye's in the house. Good to see you, Faye. Welcome back to you. Teresa, welcome to you, dear. Come on in, grab a seat. Senior says whoever did it, it's 100% fact that 30-06 was not the weapon. At least not the ammunition. That's for damn sure, bro. I agree with you on that one. That's one of my biggest arguments on this, is that they're claiming that they shot this man with a bullet out of a 30-06, an antique 30-06, and that little hole is all that it left. I have big issues with that. Sorry. Don't believe that at all. Don't believe it at all. Come on in, everybody, please, and thank you. Good point, Speedy. Good point. A lot of people didn't know who Charlie Kirk was until this happened, Brian. It's sad. Exactly, meaning. All right, we're about to kick this off. Oh, wow.
Is it like eating scoops or just like really a scoop?
Let's see here. I am going to throw up. Let's see here. There's Jesse. You did get an email, Jesse. Oh, good. I'm glad you feel better now, sir. I sent the email. I had proof that I sent it to you because I was talking to SRB and Cassie when I sent it off to you. Said, here we go. So I'm going to start this up, and don't mind who's putting this information out. Just ignore who it is. But we're going to look at this real quick before we get kicking. Kelly Land's in the house. Good to see you. It is just as crazy, if not worse than Idaho. I agree. All right, good, buddy. I'm glad you see it. 44th Brigade reporting for duty. Welcome, T-Coon. Good to see you. All right, guys. Let's check this out. Wait, we'll see when Jesus, Jesse feels like he wants to jump up here with us. We'll get talking about this 100%.
Please click to subscribe. Some new updates in the Charlie Kirk assassination case. First of all, there is some what's being called key evidence, key video that is apparently now missing. The video from when the suspect, Tyler Robinson, turned himself in. It's allegedly just gone. How could that be possible? How could this help the defense?
Surprise, surprise. Is anybody else surprised? Because I'm sure as hell not.
How big of an issue is that? I'm going to dig into that in this episode. Also, questions about the judge and his experience. He's only been on the bench for 6 months. How did a judge who's only been on the bench for 6 months end up with probably the biggest case ever in Utah? And also this looming decision over whether to allow cameras inside the courtroom. I'm digging into all of it in this episode of Brian Enton Investigates. So a couple of new developments in the Charlie Kirk assassination case. The suspect, of course, his name is Tyler Robinson. There are now questions about why there is not surveillance video from when he turned himself in. According to investigators, Robinson surrendered to the sheriff in Washington County, Utah, which is close to his parents' home. The sheriff said later at a news conference that Robinson knew it was inevitable that he would be caught, that he confessed to his parents, and that he turned himself in. We knew all of that, but this is what's new and interesting. There is apparently no video of him turning himself in at the sheriff's office. Police noted that when Robinson arrived at the sheriff's office, he was taken into a building marked authorized personnel only. with personnel from the sheriff's office notifying the Salt Lake City FBI office and other local law enforcement. They let the FBI know that Robinson arrived, but Robinson was apparently kept in the back offices of the sheriff's office and turned over to the FBI and other law enforcement upon their arrival. That was around 6 a.m. He was described as quiet and somber. Officials said that they attempted to make the conditions gentle and inviting for Robinson before the FBI arrived. But the big question now is, where is the surveillance video? Where is the video from when Tyler Robinson arrived at the sheriff's office? The sheriff's office now saying our office does not have any applicable records responsive to this request when public records requests were made to get that video. They say as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period.
Unbelievable.
So basically one of the highest profile alleged assassinations ever, and they did not save the video, apparently. Wow. So why
No, we're not dumb. We know that was done on purpose. Come on.
this could really help the defense is something I'm going to get into with a big-time defense attorney in Utah coming up in a second. Also, the governor of Utah, you remember, was quick to say that the state would seek the death penalty. You remember he said it at a press conference very, very early on before he or any of us had seen any of the evidence in the case, or at least the full scope of the evidence. It was so early on. Why the governor saying that could also be very helpful to the defense, and why the governor could actually be subpoenaed in the case because of that. Also getting into that. Also the judge over the case, a man named Judge Choni Graff. He's only been a judge for 6 months. And he has a big decision to make soon, whether to allow cameras in the courtroom. Charlie Kirk's widow has advocated for cameras, saying that if Charlie Kirk's assassination was on camera, why shouldn't this be? Why shouldn't we all be able to see everything that happens in court? And now the judge, who again is a very, very rookie judge, I mean, only on the bench for 6 months with this major case, will have to make that decision. I'm joined right now by Clayton Sims. He's a renowned defense attorney in Utah. I really appreciate you joining me, Clayton, to talk about some of these issues with Tyler Robinson's case. The first thing I wanted to ask you about are these reports that there is apparently no surveillance video when Tyler Robinson turned himself in Washington County. The sheriff's office there responded, our office does not have any applicable records responsive to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period, which seems kind of shocking with a case this big. What do you make of that?
It is odd. A secure facility has cameras throughout the facility. There would be multiple cameras at the entrance, in the interior of the building. One has to speculate that did he not surrender?
Bonnie Bailey, my love, wonderful to see you. I hope you're doing well. We've missed you. Great to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us, darling. We love you.
Did he not meet them at the jail itself? Did he meet them in the parking lot? Did they transfer him outside of the facility? If there was video, in a death penalty case, you would definitely keep that because it helps the defense, because they can say, hey, he voluntarily surrendered. You didn't need to capture him. So it is beneficial to the defendant to have that video.
Yeah, and there's already so many, I hate to use the word conspiracy theories, but theories floating around about whether Tyler Robinson really is the right person. It does just seem odd that they wouldn't, like you said, I mean, it's the sheriff's office, that there would be no video.
Right. What adds fuel to conspiracy theories is missing puzzle pieces. If there's no video and there's no good explanation for why a video that should exist does not exist, that adds fuel to the conspiracy fire, if you will. So you want to eliminate all questions in a death penalty case. A jury can't have any questions about what happened, the procedures in terms of investigation, right? So there's what happened, but also too, the focus in a death penalty case is going to be, what do the detectives do? What investigation have they done? Have they done it the right way? And I think some of the conspiracy theories are fueled by lack of video, lack of evidence.
So if you were Tyler Robinson's defense attorney, How could this fit into his defense? This lack of video.
Right. So there's two components to the death penalty case. One is whether that he's guilty or not guilty, right? The guilt phase. But then also the second phase is whether he receives the death.
Welcome, Cap. Thanks for joining us today, brother. How are you?
How you doing, Dago?
I'm doing good, brother. I appreciate you jumping up here with us today. Absolutely crazy case. I'm sure you've been following this. I'm
Oh,
more
yeah.
guaranteed you've been following this one for sure, because this has a lot of the same entails that the JFK situation does, and I know you are interested in that one. So,
Well, you got the conspiracy theory and you have the hero theory.
yes,
So, the hero theory would be like a lone guy doing it to become someone, like a hero to certain people that didn't like him. And then you have the conspiracy theory, which is all the unknowns and what's not shown, what's missing. A lot to it.
agreed.
You got you got a lot of power there. Charlie Kirk held because he was able to bring in millions and millions of votes for candidates, and with that comes a lot of power, and then there's a lot of money aspect to it,
Absolutely.
and it's also a threat to somebody else. So you have that conspiracy, theory conspiracy.
100%. Yes, I do agree. Well, I'm glad you're here with us today to go through this. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to your thoughts and feelings on everything we review today. So thanks again for jumping up here with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Dago. Anytime.
Oh, every time, brother.
Penalty. So one of the sort of favorable parts of his story is that he self-surrendered, that he turned himself in, that there was no manhunt, they didn't have to look for him. So that would be mitigating factor, that he is somehow rehabilitated, that he shouldn't be given the death penalty because he surrendered himself. So that video would be important for that phase of the trial if it got to that phase.
Interesting. If you were Tyler Robinson's defense attorney, would you subpoena the sheriff to figure out where this video is?
Right. You would want an explanation. Everywhere we go, there's Ring cameras in people's houses. You go to Walmart or 7-Eleven, there's multiple cameras. There's cameras everywhere. So to believe that there's not cameras and surveillance cameras at the sheriff's office is not credible. Of course there's cameras at the sheriff's office. Of course sheriffs always have body cams. They have the ability to record on their phone. And so there would be documentation through video of this event. It's odd that there has not been video produced. Certainly there would be surveillance outside of the sheriff's office, multiple cameras. I would bet if you went to the sheriff's office, you would be just walk around the building, you'd be able to locate multiple cameras. So there could be an explanation that they didn't preserve those cameras. They didn't preserve the surveillance. Maybe the surveillance is only live. You can watch it, but it's not recorded. There could be an explanation, but certainly to say it doesn't exist is not credible.
But on a case this big, and you knew at that point that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that this was the guy who, investigators believed was responsible, wouldn't it be typical to say, we got to do everything by the book here? Like if you were the sheriff, like this is the time, let's make sure the cameras are rolling, let's get the body cams on. Like this is one for the history books.
Right. I have had a death penalty case that was out of Texas that had involvement in Utah.
To answer that, Hemi, I've already got a bunch of things here. You'll be surprised, my friend.
They recorded his entire ride from Moab, Utah, all the way to Salt Lake. So he was in the back seat of a police car, and they videotaped him the whole way to Salt Lake. And so I know that they have the ability to record, because you don't want a favorable statement made that's not captured. That's what the law enforcement. What if he confessed? And there's no video of that. So basic police protocol would require you to record it, audio record it, video record it, and certainly you would want to record the ride. If he's going from St. George to Provo, Utah, you would think that he would naturally talk, that he would make statements that could be helpful to the case, that you would just let the videotape roll and have a conversation with him. Maybe he invoked his Miranda rights. He doesn't want to talk to you. He wants an attorney, but still, even his demeanor, what is his attitude? What does he look like? Is he crying? Is he distraught after this event? Is he laughing? You would want to know that. And certainly, even if he didn't make statements, you would want to know what his demeanor was on the way to Provo from St. George.
Do you think, Clayton, in this case, that there are significant pieces of the puzzle missing?
It appears that yes, I think that there are concerns with the surveillance at the sheriff's office. And also, too, part of it, what's missing is the metadata. What's the information behind the text? What was the location in which the texts were sent? Where was the sender of the text? Where was their GPS location? Was there any alteration to the text? So all of that is not been presented yet. So without that corroborating information, those texts really aren't even admissible. You need to lay foundation for those texts, the authenticity of those texts. So there are problems, I think, in the case already.
In terms of the judge, I don't know if you know much about this, Judge Tony Graff.
There's Outcast. Good. Tomorrow or Friday, bro? Which day do you want? You pick it. It's your choice, brother. 8:30, 9:30, whatever time. It's up to you. I've been trying to reach back out to you, brother. So tell me which day you want is the best for you. Thanks for joining us in here. And, of course, you're welcome to join us up here, bro. If you want, Jesse's going to be joining us here shortly.
It seems like really a rookie. He's only been on the bench for 6 months, and I would assume this has got to be the biggest or one of the biggest, cases in Utah history.
That's what I meant. Tonight or tomorrow? You want to do tonight? Okay. We'll do it tonight. Can you do 8:30? I know I lost my days. Sorry. Give me the exact time. 9:30. Okay, 9:30 it is. Eastern Standard Time. So be it. It's gonna be a late one, folks. 9:30 tonight. Sounds like a plan. Appreciate it. I'm gonna do a link too, bro. Welcome, Jesse. Thanks for joining us. On we go.
There's just so much focus on it. Is that a concern?
Yeah, so Tony Graff is a former prosecutor. I've tried cases against Tony Graff when he was a prosecutor, but he has been on the bench only 6 months. I don't know if anything can compare you for this type of case and this type of scrutiny, but someone who has just 6 months of experience is definitely challenging.
Is there any way, is it just random that he got assigned? Because you would think they would realize, okay, this is going to have national attention. People are going to be picking this apart at every turn. Wouldn't they want someone with more experience?
Right. So the system is designed that a computer algorithm just randomly assigns judges. So you don't want to be able to pick a prosecution-friendly judge or a defense-friendly judge for certain cases. And so it's completely random who gets assigned a criminal case because of allegations of sort of favoritism. In this particular case, it's assigned randomly. You don't want a system in which prosecutors could pick who the judge is that handles the case. And so Judge Graff was completely and totally randomly assigned this particular case.
Is there any, like when I covered the Brian Koberger case in Idaho, the judge basically was about to retire and kind of recused himself. It got moved to a different county, to a judge with a lot more experience in a bigger county. Could something like that happen here?
It's impossible for him to.
Welcome, Josie. Good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. Great to have you here.
Accuse himself, but he would need some type of conflict of interest. So he would be, even with 6 months experience, he would be qualified to handle the case. He certainly is getting help from the state. There is a death penalty law clerk assigned to the state of Utah. And that death penalty law clerk has experience in death penalty cases. And so that special clerk who travels throughout the state is helping Judge Graff with these issues that come up.
It's interesting too. I didn't realize that judges in Utah are not elected.
Right. So judges in Utah are not elected. They're appointed by the governor. Now, there is a retention election, so you can be kicked off the bench, but you're not initially elected. So the judge, Graff, was appointed by Governor Cox, who's already stated that the state of Utah has death penalty, is pushing for the death penalty. Governor Cox is the person who appointed Tony Graff 6 months ago.
That's
Welcome back,
kind of interesting.
SRB.
It is interesting. It's interesting that the death penalty was announced at the press conference by Governor Cox and not in the courtroom. You have to do, it's interesting that before the evidence was brought out, before the cell phones were now analyzed, before any really evidence was out, Governor Cox reminded people that we have the death penalty and was pushing for the death penalty very, very early on, before police reports were there, before any evidence was presented.
Is that unusual? I mean, it seems unusual to me.
It is unusual that the executive branch, that the governor of Utah is pushing for that and stating that publicly. Of course, the defendant has the presumption of innocence, and we don't know what evidence is out there. And to push for the death penalty so early in the case is very unusual.
Could they actually subpoena the governor to ask him about why he so quickly was saying that they were going to use the death penalty, go after the death penalty?
Right. And what's interesting about the governor so early coming out stating that there's a death penalty in Utah is we didn't know what the aggravating factors were for the death penalty. So in this particular case there's the risk of death of a large number of people is the factor for the death penalty. That wasn't even in play necessarily, what factors were available to give someone the death penalty. And so this governor could be subpoenaed. What information did he have that he was pushing for that? And certainly you could taint the jury very early on at the press conference stage, rather than opening statement, evidence, closing. They're already hearing about death penalty before a single juror has been sworn in.
Why not just let the prosecutor handle that part of it? Let them have a press conference later when more evidence comes out. We reviewed things and we are going to seek the death penalty instead of, literally he talked about the death penalty before we even knew anything about Tyler Robinson.
Right. I think that the governor was upset, understandably, that this happened in Utah, that we let Charlie Kirk down, that he was injured and murdered in our state, and he sort of reacted to that with a bit of passion, understandably upset, and sort of pushed the death penalty as an emotional reaction before any evidence was in. And so I think that the governor's human. The governor reacted to the situation and was passionate about his position and pushed for the death penalty early on, probably as an emotional reaction. Yes.
Do you think that could backfire?
Well, it could backfire in terms of making it's certainly a political prosecution, in the sense that a death of a single person is rarely, without other factors, torture, multiple deaths. It doesn't fit the normal death penalty framework. But because Charlie Kirk was a public figure, because of his notoriety and his reach, the death penalty is being sought.
So you're right in the middle of, obviously, the legal community in Utah. We've been going back and forth to Utah, but you have a different, sort of more intimate perspective. What is the vibe there? Are people concerned that the judge isn't experienced? Are they concerned that the case might not be strong? Like, what are you hearing amongst your colleagues?
I think that people want to see the performance from the judge. I think he's very thoughtful. He's making rulings with sound reasoning behind them, understanding that every decision he makes is going to be scrutinized. So I think that he is handling the case actually at this point great. He's doing a great job. He's limiting both sides through the gag order, and he's going to try the case in the courtroom and not in the press. And so I think that the attitude in Utah is wait and see. Let's see how the judge does. Let's see how the prosecution does. Let's see how the defense does. And so they're not prejudging just yet.
And I know this is just the way it's set up in Utah, but I'm just thinking from other states, when a judge is elected, there's an accountability to the people, to the constituents, to the citizens. And with a case like this, people are really counting on the process to work the right way, to be fair, to make sure this is the right person. I mean, do you see an issue there that it sounds like he's more accountable to the governor, who said, like you said, before we even knew the evidence, that they plan to seek the death penalty, and not really accountable to constituents?
Yes, there is a mechanism, again, the retention election. The judge is appointed, but he has to maintain his position, and he can be voted out. The problem would be is if he makes the right decision legally, but it's unpopular. And so he's already made a decision to allow the defendant to appear in civilian clothing. He will be restrained. Tyler Robinson will be shackled and have handcuffs on and be restrained for security purposes. But he's ordered that news cameras not focus on those shackles, not focus on him entering the courtroom with chains on, that they photograph him primarily in civilian clothing. So that may be viewed as unpopular. But it would be certainly the right decision based upon the presumption of innocence. So the judge could make a legally correct ruling, but maybe unpopular, and he could be thrown off of the case.
That's pretty standard, though, isn't it? I mean, other high-profile cases I've covered, they've allowed the suspect to wear civilian clothing, obviously, because it's going to be on camera, and they don't want to taint the jury pool, right?
Right. So
if I'm correct, Mangione didn't, Linguini, Manicotti, they didn't allow him to wear civilian clothes, if I can remember, unless I missed something, but I don't believe they did.
At trial, you have a right to wear civilian clothes. A famous example is the P. Diddy trial. So Sean Puffy Combs was in trial, and he was able to wear suits. The jury obviously knew he was in custody from publicity, knew he was in jail, but he's allowed to wear civilian clothes during the trial, because if you're in a jumpsuit, it makes you look guilty. So the presumption of innocence would be stripped from somebody who's sitting there already prejudged, already in a jumpsuit. And so the judge made a ruling in pretrial as well as trial itself, he would be able to wear civilian clothes.
What about the gag order? What do you make of that? Because the judge has put a gag order in place, so parties aren't allowed to talk, defense. And I've kind of seen that go both ways, where on something that is so high profile and controversial, when there is a vacuum of information, it can almost backfire.
Right. It can again create sort of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Why is there no information? Why is the judge issuing a gag order? But at the same time, you don't want the prosecutor and the defense to try the case in the public. You don't want them to sort of taint the jury pool with evidence that may not end up in trial. And so the judge is putting a freeze on statements from the prosecution and the defense.
What's your feeling kind of overall? I mean, you're in Utah, obviously. You see that there's a lot of people that don't think Tyler Robinson is the right guy for whatever reason. There seems to be a lot of evidence that he is, but there are people who think that there's other things at play here. I mean, what's your general feeling about the case?
Well, you would need proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and you would need unanimous jurors to convict Tyler Robinson. So if you have one person that taps into conspiracy theory, that taps into that he's not the person, there's some other person who committed this, you would end up with a not guilty verdict. Now, voir dire and screening of jurors may prevent that a person who's predisposed to that belief to be on the jury. But we don't know if any of those theories the defense is going to present at trial. They may not present a specific alternative version or conspiracy theory. But even in this case, there's already been someone who falsely claimed that they were the shooter. Immediately before this person announced, "Oh, I shot him. It turned out that person was not involved, but it certainly distracted law enforcement. It certainly diverted resources to looking for the real suspect. So already in this case, you already have someone falsely claiming that they're the shooter when they're not.
Would you play that up if you were his attorney? I mean, what tactics, based on what you know, what would you be thinking right now in terms of what would your strategy be?
Yeah, I would put all of that out there. You don't want to eliminate any tools in the toolbox. You want to use every tool available to you, and you don't know what a jury or a specific juror is going to think. So you may drop several different theories and see what sticks. And again, your friend as a defense attorney is doubt. If there's puzzle pieces missing, if there's not the video surveillance of him walking into jail where there should be, you start pointing to, hey, there's pieces that are missing. And sometimes too, you could point to the fact that, is this a setup? Is it too perfect? Are the texts so very damaging that they're almost fake? That it seems like it's a script that who would confess in that way? It's a little odd that you made all the elements of the crime in a text. People text emojis, people text, phrases, not complete sentences and complete confessions. So it is a little odd that the confession is almost too perfect.
So you bring up the text. That's something that a lot of people have zeroed in on, just the way that they were written and framed. I mean, did that stand out to you as strange?
It does seem strange, and that it doesn't seem to be the way a young person texts. You can analyze his other texts. Is he using words that aren't in other text chains? Grammar correct in the confession and not necessarily correct in his everyday life? Is there a meme? Is there an emoji in normal day, everyday conversation, but not in the confession? So it seems a little bit odd given his age. Those texts, yes, they do seem odd.
What about cameras in the courtroom? That's something that the judge hasn't decided on yet. Charlie Kirk's widow has said, well, his assassination was on camera, so there should be cameras. The world should see the way this all goes down in court. How do you think the judge will rule?
Well, there's an open court policy in Utah. So all courts are open. There's no secret courtrooms. So they would certainly be transcribed no matter what. But routinely, video is brought in to trials. And so the standard is, in a high profile case, you can petition to bring in the cameras, and it's allowed. So there's state law allows for cameras to be in state court. I think that he will allow the cameras in because it's allowed in other cases in the state of Utah. And so I believe that he will rule in that way. Now, you won't video the jurors, certain witnesses, if they're under the age of 18, maybe you couldn't film them, certain rules around the filming, but I believe that he has not yet, but he will rule that cameras are allowed in the courtroom.
Yeah, it seems if he didn't, that would really open up a can of worms in terms of people who already think there's something secretive and weird going on.
Right. And so if he doesn't allow cameras, then it would maybe add fuel to the conspiracy sort of fire, if you will. That why wouldn't he do that? It's normal to have exposure. It's normal to have cameras everywhere. And again, Charlie Kirk's widow is correct that his death was on video, and so why can't his trial be on video? She doesn't necessarily have. She would speak for the victim and his family, and certainly that would be a factor, but it would be based upon the argument of the prosecution, based on the argument of the defense, would rule the day.
All right, interesting. Welcome, Jesse. How are you today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. I was a little bit disappointed when I saw the stream go live, and I said, he didn't even email me. And then I checked my email, and I saw that about an hour earlier, you did indeed email me. So now I'm got all the warm fuzzies inside and everything.
Yes. I made sure, like I said, I was in a meeting with Cass and SRB, and I was talking about what I was going to do. And I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and send Jesse this right now. And when you said that in chat, I went, hold up. Because I did send the email, and then you came back, said you saw it. So I'm glad. I don't forget as much, but that's why I have them. They remind me of stuff. So
I was in the middle of a bunch of other stuff. I was just filming a expose on a UTEP study. I sent you the email.
Okay.
On how financial incentives corrupt the results for NFL games involving the Kansas City Chiefs, but the study actually expands into politics, finance, and business. Essentially, a long-winded way of saying follow the money. When there's money involved,
I will definitely look into that.
And this is a proper study at the University of Texas, El Paso.
Gotcha.
So I think it's a big deal, to be honest with you.
No, I'm grateful you sent it to me. I'm curious. I love stuff like looking into stuff like that. So I appreciate you dropping that to me as well. Welcome, Cap and Jesse. I appreciate you both joining us as we get into this crazy discussion today, because there's so much to discuss. It took me. I did when it first went down. I covered it slightly for about a week or so, on and off. The things going on, and then I backed away to cover other stuff. Yeah, and now it's time to delve back into it because there's so much going on with it, so much being said, so much we know, so much we don't know, so much that we question that we know. There's a lot. So welcome everybody that's jumping in now. I appreciate you guys very much. Please make sure to hit the like button on your way through the door. Share this out. Let everybody know what's going on. It looks like we got 94 peeps in the house with 57 likes, guys. Let's see if we can make that match. At least pretend like for one of these other gentlemen. If you don't like me, at least, if you will, please and thank you. Great to have you guys here. Let's see here. Brian's in the house. Brian's been involved in this a lot as well. I guess Chris is supposed to be joining us too sometime. So grateful for that. Come on in. Come on in. So let me start here. Cap. And, Cap jumped in first. Jesse had to eat his sandwich to get his superpowers up so he could really attack this straight on. And
Cap, it is 3:30 in the morning where I'm at.
That's what I said to them. I said Jesse had to go brew a pot of coffee and everything because it's probably middle of the night for him. So yes, we got to keep him awake and moving. So real quick, Cap, what do you think about this so far before we get rolling on this? Truly, what are your thoughts on this as we're into it now at this point?
There's a lot of missing pieces, First of all, there's no video that I know of him taking the shot, the actual shot itself.
Of course.
The place where Charlie was sitting was grass, and it was readily paved right over that area where he was sitting at. Why? I don't know. There's a lot of inconsistencies with stuff in this case. And
Too many.
Yeah. And then, now you're missing the video with him surrendering. And I think that video should have chain of command on it, right? So where would if that was going to be used in court, wouldn't it have chain of command?
It absolutely should.
I don't.
Anything should. This is a police station, a law enforcement agency. You're going to tell me there's not cameras? Come on. Let's be realistic here. Some of these things that they do, they think that the public is just completely stupid to this or doesn't care, but why wouldn't we? Okay, this is a very serious allegation, a very serious situation. This isn't somebody robbed a bank or held up a gas station. Somebody assassinated a political figure, folks. This is a real deal situation. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if someone robbed the bank, he said, "Hey, I lost the video." That's it. There's no case.
Right.
But
and it's funny because, in my opinion, everybody has doubts that Robinson is the one that did this. We know this, okay, for good reason. Now, losing the video that Robinson himself turned himself in, came about and said this is what happened, so on and so forth, because that's been in question from the time that this supposedly happened, that he ever even did that. Okay, now that video exists, well, okay. You wonder why there's conspiracy theorists out here that are saying the things they're saying. I don't, because I see it. It's in our face, guys. Any thoughts, Jesse?
Yeah, I got lots of thoughts. The missing video of him turning himself in is just one more piece to the puzzle, but I think it's pretty minor in comparison to a lot of the other things. I think it's really enlightening. The little pieces that they are showing you and what they're not showing you, and then the debunking that's going on, that like what Candace is coming out with, and then everybody's attacking Candace and trying to debunk her. But what exactly are they trying to debunk, and what are they not touching? Because how about those Google searches? Has anybody seen that debunked yet? It seems like they pick their where they can attack and what they think they can make hay on, but nobody's explained those Google searches to me. And to me, that's extremely damning. There's no way anybody should be knowing the names of those buildings in Huntsville, Alabama, Tel Aviv, and Washington, D.C. The names of the surgeons, the names of the buildings, the address where the rifle was found. I mean, all these things, like I mentioned the other day, we were talking about the 30-06 would not just leave a small entry hole in the neck. That's true, but it's not just that. It's the lack of the 30-06 being shown on the
Yes.
roof. They say they found it in the woods, and they show this video footage, and they tell you, look, he's got it in his pants. Well, they tell you to look like he's got, yeah, but that's not what I'm seeing. Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see it in his pants. Sorry. They're asking me to believe something that my eyes are telling me something different.
Yeah, I truly have to agree with that. I definitely agree with you on that one. And again, my son-in-law, hold on a minute.
And it's step by step, right? Like step one, okay, the wound does not look like a entry wound of a 30-06. And then the next step is the shooter, the images of the shooter in the videos don't look consistent. Doesn't even look like the same guy, and he's wearing different clothes.
That's right.
The missing footage of him actually firing the shot or laying in the prone position. They just skip to him running. It's like the key moment is not available to view. And then the lack of explanation for how a guy gets a 30-06 in his pants, taken apart, put back together 2 or 3 times, changing clothes 2 or 3 times. I mean, it's an awful lot.
Come on, the guy walked down the road, climbed up on a building with a Mauser in his pant leg, wearing skinny jeans. No, he goes up. There's a screwdriver he has to use to take the gun apart. He takes the gun apart, shoves it in a backpack, jumps down, walks into the woods, puts the gun back together, leaves the screwdriver on the roof, wraps it in a towel, and walks away. What? Come on.
Occam's razor, in the absence of evidence, the simplest solution is usually the correct one. Well, the official story is far from the simplest solution. It's extremely complex, extremely complicated. It requires jumping through a lot of hoops and doing a lot of mental gymnastics. And I'm just not, in fact, of all the theories, of all the conspiracy theories, the official narrative is the least believable to me, the wildest one.
I absolutely have to agree with you. I'm sorry. I
There's
truly do. Go ahead, Cap.
Oh, there's also a thing too. I was reading the other day. I just learned this is about mercury used rounds, which assassins use a lot. That they leave brain staining when a mercury round is used. So,
Oh, I've heard that before. I have heard that before. Yes.
yeah, they said that one of the doctors, surgeons, or whatever worked at Parkland when JFK was shot said there was brain staining, which I just found out. I don't know, like maybe a week or two ago. Them doing an interview, and there was a brain stain found on him. So,
Wow.
which is indicative of mercury, a mercury round.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's interesting. What does that mean to you, Jesse, hearing something like that being stated as far as this is considered?
I'm not a firearms guy. I don't know the slightest thing about
right
bullets and firearms, so I can't really comment on that. But I will say regarding the death penalty, the video we were just watching, they were talking about the death penalty, how quick they were to go after the death penalty. Also, how conveniently that chat that they pulled up with the furry boyfriend seems to be, it's fitting it's, as I described it, as an orgy of evidence from the scene in the Minority Report where they have all the photos laid out on the bed. They say, I worked homicide for 15 years. This is what we call an orgy of evidence. You know how many times I saw an orgy of evidence on the force? Never.
Right, exactly. And how many times have we used that now, Jesse?
It's one of my favorites because it's very applicable to so many situations.
Cases. Yes. Multiple cases.
But in addition to that, so the chat is basically an admission step by step, sort of leading to a confession, also leading to the death penalty. Also, the witnesses that they interviewed on mainstream media like Fox News, they had all these eyewitnesses. And there's some, I don't know if you guys have seen some of these interviews. There's one lady who's very tied into the church and Turning Point and everything. And she's got a whole bunch of kids with her. It's kind of crazy. And they're like not her kids. Like she's chaperoning other people's kids at this event,
Mhm.
and she claims that she brought her kids as well, but she got split up with her kids. So somebody else has got her kids. She doesn't seem overly concerned about that.
Mhm.
And one of the things that came to light is under Utah law, the fact that children were there escalates it to
No, of course, yes.
make it a death penalty case. And I just thought, if you go to Charlie Kirk events, we know that Antifa doesn't like them. There often is violence and adult subject matter.
Yep.
Who's bringing their kid? Why is there so many kids who's bringing their kids to these events? I wouldn't take my kids to
That's
to
not a
Charlie
family.
Kirk
That's
rally.
not a family outing. I agree with you. That's not.
Maybe teenagers, maybe 14
Even then,
up.
even then,
But-
Jesse, I
But they had like 7-year-olds and 9-year-olds and stuff, like young kids that I didn't think it was appropriate, and large groups of them. It seemed a little odd to me.
Yeah, it seemed a lot odd to me. Big struggle, and like, as far as, you don't pack a lunch, grab the kids and say, hey, we're gonna head off to a Charlie Kirk or any kind of a political venue in that sense no. I mean, I'd never have wanted my kids 7, 8 years old, not even teenagers, to have a political view on society. That's just, there's enough issues with that. You don't take your family to this thing for an outing. I'm sorry. To me, it's no different than back in the old days when they would take, the whole family would pack a picnic basket and head off to the public hanging of the latest criminal that was just committed a crime. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's different, but the same. You just don't do that. Kids are struggling with innocence enough these days, guys. We don't need to make it harder for them. So,
Well, it does seem to be a convenient coincidence, though, when you're trying to fast forward a death penalty, and then you've got all these kids in the audience.
Yep. I can agree. Definitely can agree. That's a good point too, Jesse. I'm glad you brought that up.
Did you ever see the video with they're interviewing the two like college kids? It's like on top of one of them balconies facing down. And
I think so.
And they cut it off. Is that the one where they pull them away?
The shot goes off. You hear clear as day a second shot. It's the first 5 seconds of this video, and they're interviewing the kid.
The guy comes running, Cap, from behind everybody. That one, or
no, it's like it's on like a balcony facing down in the area where everyone's at, and they're facing away from it while he's doing the interview, and you hear just like the first 5 seconds of this video, and this video doesn't even acknowledge that, doesn't even know, like, and you hear boom, the fire shot, everyone turns around like what just happened, and then you hear it again, boom, like another couple seconds. Clear as day, I can hear it.
I don't think I've seen it. If you have it and you want to send it to me, I would love to look at it. I don't know that I've seen that one, though. I've seen a lot. That one doesn't sound familiar to me.
It's like the first 5 seconds of a longer video, but no one mentions it.
Brandon says he knows which one you're talking about. I haven't seen it yet, so unless I haven't, I just don't remember it. I think I would remember, though. I mean, there's talk of a second shooter. There has been for a long time. You know, I don't see it, but I do remember the video. The other video I thought you were talking about is up on the mezzanine. There's an upper level.
Yep.
And you see there's people standing there looking over the railing. You hear the shot, and then within a matter of like 4 seconds, you see some guy come running. I mean, he's flying, okay, by himself. He's not wearing security uniform, none of that kind of stuff. Just looks like me or you out there. People get down. He runs right on by. And and it's not Robinson. It's like a middle-aged guy. So I've always wondered, he looks like he may have jumped down from that one area that's over right above where he come running out of, because the crowd opens up and here he comes. And I'm like, well, where the hell did this guy come from? You know, I did see that video and it made me question things. I'll say that much. Welcome, Julia Rose.
This is clear as day.
Yeah, I'll have to find that, look around for it, see if I can find it. Have you guys seen does everybody know who Brian Harpole is?
I watched that interview half a dozen times. I'm quite familiar with it.
Okay, well, do you mind watching it one more time with us and reviewing it and breaking it down? Because I think there's some interesting points in here.
Yeah, it's a long one, so it'll take a while.
I'm gonna kind of skip through it. You know what I mean? Certain points. yeah, luckily enough, it gives the way it's broken down. Sean Ryan put it out, you guys, and it's broken down into segments, Jesse,
Before,
and titles.
before we get started, can I give you my opinion on Sean Ryan?
Oh, please do. That's fine. Just because I'm running this doesn't mean I'm a fan or not a fan. Just so everybody knows.
I mean, I'm not going to comment on whether I'm a fan or not. I mean, I think he's quite professional. He does a pretty good job, but he's got millions of subscribers. He's a massive podcast. And up until about a year or two ago, I'd never heard of him. So, I mean, he's a ex-CIA contractor. All of a sudden, bang, he's got millions of subscribers. He's very influential. He's talking to all the big players in politics. Certainly has the appearance of being an industry plant and a Fed. And the entire interview, in my opinion, there's a reason why Harpole chose to be interviewed by Sean Ryan. It was a setup, a softball interview. So yeah, I personally have my suspicions that Sean Ryan's not above board. He's a shill.
It's very opportune. Let me put that word in there. It's very opportune that it happened this way, for sure. Yep. You okay there, hun? You gonna make it?
Yeah. Oh, we already.
Sorry, you guys. My wife is high on her pain medication because of her surgery from yesterday, so she's having a ball. Anyway, so the that what you just said, those specific points alone, Jesse, says everything. I'm not saying that I don't like his stuff because he does do interesting shows, but think about it. You know what I'm saying? Think about the situation, who Sean Ryan is, what he has access at, what and who he has access to, and vice versa. In my opinion, we have how many other people have you seen Harpole do interviews with? Just think about it, you guys. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So there's some points here that I wanted to point out. I'm gonna skip through it. We're not gonna watch it because it's like 2 hours long. We're not gonna go through the whole thing dead set, and it's broken down. I just want to point certain things out. And there is another one that he did where they separated it and they talk about the bullet, where the bullet is and stuff like that. There's other things that I'm looking at as well. So yeah, as long as you don't get bored with it, Jesse, I will appreciate it because I want your opinion on some of this stuff as well, specifically you and Cap. I'm kind of grateful that both you guys, I was hoping that Cap would get into this as well because he's got good points when it comes to stuff like this. So the two of you, this is like a great panel to me. I'm very excited about this.
It'll give me time to make myself another coffee.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. So, of course, I'll start from the beginning, at least with that aspect, to give you guys the option to get in there. Plus, the guy's got one hell of a fully stocked bar. You got to say that much. Are you familiar with who this is, too, Cap, by chance?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Welcome, Dizzy. Good to see you. There's Miss Krista. Thank you for joining us, Miss Krista. Good to see you today. Julia Rose, welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. Witchy's in the house. Good to have you here. Brandon Rudder, thank you for joining us, brother. All you guys, I very much appreciate you guys. We got 87 people in the house right now. Make sure to hit that like button if you will. Share this out, and let's get this moving.
And I'm sitting here, and trainer, running your own company, Integrity Security Solutions, across 5 continents. A graduate of Columbia College, you earned a Master Peace Officer license from the state of Texas, along with graduating from the International Law Enforcement School of Police Supervision in Southern Methodist University's CAPE Intelligence Program. Most importantly, you are on the stage with Charlie Kirk as the head of his contracted security detail on September 10th when he was assassinated. It's been 2 months since this tragedy, and there are a lot of unanswered questions, and people are starving for some answers. I know a lot of people are going to be very interested in what you have to say today, but you know, I just kind of want to give it to you right now and give you the opportunity on why you've decided to come out.
You hit it. It's there's so much out there, and and there's so much out there that's not true. And I was talking to your staff earlier. I'm older, right? And I have guys on my team our team that are younger. And if the truth doesn't get out there, it could hurt their 20 more years of work, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
And these are stellar individuals.
Yeah.
These guys are stellar. And we've worked with just about every agency and police department across the nation and in the larger government, FBI, Secret Service. And I've got guys will come up to me and say, where did you get your guys? Where did you get these people? And
company, and then we'll get into some actions on and stuff. But this is just so wild. I mean, we've heard it was a right-wing nut, a left-wing nut, Israel, a trans person's boyfriend. I mean, and at the time there were compelling arguments for every single one of those avenues, and I think, there's a lot of people that don't believe that this Tyler Robinson kid is the shooter, but I just, we'll dissect all of this stuff as we go on. And then at the end, I want to ask what questions you have, from somebody that was being there and somebody that had their hands, the first ones to have their hands in the wound. But so let's start with, let's start with a little bit of your background in law enforcement and what qualified you to get into this type of.
I came from a law enforcement family, and my dad was a cop for 47 years. And he was a worker. He is still a worker, and he was kind of like a role model for that. And so I was kind of hell bent when I was in my early 20s that that's not what I was going to do. And then just kind of got gleaned into that, recruited into that, and did 14 years at that. And kind of my area of specialty was I had the ability to go out and find bad guys. And that was kind of what I did, whether it just, seeing the physiological movements of people in crowds or even in cars and then, not different company. We lost that company lead or that company we have no ties to Israel or Mossad or any other one. We're Americans, period. We believe in what we're afforded to do here. We believe in our system, and to say that we're Mossad or attached to any type of foreign entity, it's one of those, it's crap on its best day.
Do you have anybody on your team that you think could be tied to an extreme political party who is planning assassinations?
No. One, we're in each other's business. Where they have the time for it, I wouldn't know. Mm-hmm. But
you had mentioned some of these guys are on the road 250 days a year.
Yeah,
with Charlie.
Yeah, just working, and it's not just that. It's, a lot. We do a team trip every year down to an undisclosed location, and some of the guys are there now. Some of the guys left yesterday after that job ended. I'll be going down the night before. Tomorrow. So we know what each other does. We know their kids' names and their spouses, and it's like if they're doing it and they're not, they wouldn't have time for us not to notice. And then the heart of these men that they're going to pour this out. It's something you have to backfill him. And then we have the bubble around to protect you. And mathematically, 2,000 people are in front of you. Where's mathematically the threat coming from?
The front.
Right. And so we're looking for walk-ups, people walk up, setting down a package, walking away, displaying a firearm, everything from throwing balloons full of piss to muriatic acid. We've had all kind of stuff thrown on us over the years. And so there's a reason why those things are set up that way. And there's a reason why those guys that day were set up around there. Every guy has a job. Every guy has a detail. Every guy knows the guy's job next to him. And so we have that set. And then other people have areas of responsibility. Well, the Monday before the event, we were still working through the arrival. And so we have concerns with rooftops. We got a location that we're not keen with. We know what our responsibility is. We know what our statutory authority is. We know that we can't go up and set up our guys in sniper observer positions. It's not going to be allowed. And so we have some correspondence with the chief of the school on that day, on Monday before Charlie was killed. And why this hadn't come out and why he won't stand up like a man and admit this, I don't know. But he's watching a bunch of men lose their careers, and he's okay with it. On Monday before, this correspondence went to Chief Long. Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at the Utah Valley. The Sorensen Center has a couple of staircases that go up to walkways on the roofs. He comes back, and for edification, the Sorensen Center was the building in front of the Lucy Center. And so he comes back and he says, you want access to the roof? And came back and said, I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to either have it controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well, if possible. He comes back and his last correspondence was, I got you covered.
Those words, for those of you that don't get it, the I got you covered, those are going to go down in history. Go ahead, Jesse. I see you're ready to say something.
I mean, anybody who knows anything or has lived on this planet for more than 20 years should know that when somebody that you don't even know says, I got you covered, what that means exactly is
you're not covered.
Nothing. It means you're not. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, maybe if somebody that you've known for 20 years who's proven to be extremely reliable says that, maybe.
You still need to handle it.
The other thing is, it was an ambiguous request. So let's just say that this Chief Long intends on having him covered. What is Chief Long supposed to have covered? Because the request seems to be and or if or request. So the immediate follow-up should be, are you going to give me access to the roof, or are you going to put men on the roof? Because
there
was the discussion of both, right? So
that's a follow-up.
I've got you covered was an answer to an ambiguous sort of multi-pronged question that required more follow-up on his part. So
bingo.
Totally his fault, totally him passing the buck.
How do you have us covered? What is your plan? How does it include us? Neither one of us are involved in security, Jesse, but I think we get this. Okay.
This is just life. This is just life. When somebody says, I got you covered, you don't just rest easy, go back to bed and think, oh, well, I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, this is not, can you bring bread home from work, honey? Yeah, I got that covered. Don't worry about it. No, this is somebody's life that you have in your hands, as well as thousands of other people's possibly. So yes, agreed. That those words are.
I will say that so far, my read on this guy is more incompetence rather than nefarious. Like, I'm not trying to suggest that this guy had a hand in what happened, but he certainly comes across as incompetent to me.
Well, unless that's what he's trying to make it look like.
Yeah, well, I'm not ruling it out either.
Exactly.
You figured they would have learned from Butler.
Or many other circumstances too, Cap. I mean, this is just common sense, you guys. The three of us sitting up here alone agree that statement. Those three words, I got you covered.
Did he discuss his hiring practices yet? I thought I heard him say, where do I get my guys? Did he touch on that yet?
He went through I'm trying to avoid certain things that have not a lot to do with this, but he went through background. He went through integrity, security training and all that. Yeah.
So he said something that really struck me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Is that he said that when people ask him where he gets his guys, that he answers, I pray them in. Sort of like he prays and then they come. And I take exception to that because, maybe he has faith, but he shouldn't be asking us and everybody else who has different belief systems to have the same faith that he has. In our society, we have checks and balances. We're supposed to have the separation of church and state. You're not supposed to just show up in a courtroom and say, I believe it to be true because I have faith and that's what I believe in. You want to have paperwork, you want to have documentation, you want to have proof. And when you're asked where, you just had a guy assassinated on your watch and you're asked where you get your security guys from and you talk about praying them in, to me, that's absolute bullshit. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear where the fuck do they work? What's their qualifications? What's their experience? Don't tell me how good at Christians they are. You know what I mean? And it's nothing against Christians. It's just that's not. No, they're not working for a church.
No, this has nothing to do with it.
They're not priests. They're security personnel, right?
I need to know you have somebody's life, somebody of importance. Anybody's life is important, folks. But this is a political figure. This is a very important. They hold a very important position in society, okay? And you have their life in your hands, as well as thousands of other people, possibly, because you don't know. And if you're dealing with security here, like I said, praying them in, that's great. Good for you. I'm glad you do that. I get that whole thing. I pray too. That's fine. You need to show proof of what you have securing the situation. You need to explain that. You need to back that up with some kind of, I want to see what you're praying in. That's what you need to show me. What are you praying in? Who?
Throughout this whole interview, it feels to me like this guy's judgment is clouded by his faith, and his decision-making process is influenced by his religion, and not he seems to lose focus on the details because he's more concerned with his faith. And even when they talk about everybody on his team has a tattoo that says brothers in Christ. Mm-hmm. And, so what you're saying is he only hires white Anglo Christians. So, this is my problem with affirmative action. You want to hire the most capable individuals. And if they have to be of the same church, of the same faith, and get tattoos that say brothers in Christ, to me, that has the potential to cause issues as the issues that we've seen that have happened.
Of course. And like I said, you guys, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't take this the wrong way, because I'm right with Jesse on this. That's great. That is awesome. I love that you feel that way, that you do that, all of that. That's great. I want to see the solidarity in what you have. Like, show me the business, bro. Show me the business. That's what I want to see. Show me the safety here. Give me what's the word I'm looking for here? And yes, I know it was 4 words. I was just thinking of the 3 SRU. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I give me peace of mind. That's what I'm trying to say. That's your job, is to give me peace of mind, knowing what you have, supporting what you're saying. That's all I'm saying. Nothing wrong with this, but you need to then show us that. That's what I'm saying. So
it's a very vague statement to make.
Very vague.
When someone's life is at risk,
Too vague, Cap. Too vague. I agree with you on that, sir.
Now, is Candace Owens like in some kind of protective custody or something?
We're gonna get to her too, because there's been a lot. Like, she's been attacked a lot lately. So
yeah, crazy stuff.
I don't know that she is. I'm sure she's got some kind of security that is on the outskirts of what's going on within her life, but I don't know that she's in protective custody. Maybe. I mean, at some points, a lot of people think she should be because of what has been happening over the most recent period of time with her. But it's interesting. I'll show you guys some of that coming up here too.
Okay.
What else am I to do? When a command level person from an accredited police department says, I've got this area. Jeez. Have you been in contact? Who is that?
You're to make sure that that's true before you go forward. That's what you're to do. That's what else.
And Sean Ryan shows his true colors here when he accepts that explanation, because I think that the unanimous consensus, everybody I've seen commenting on this interview admits it's blatantly obvious that when he says, "What else am I to do?" everybody knows the answer to that question. We all know it. And for Sean Ryan to just sit there and go, yeah, I mean, there was nothing you could do. Nothing you could do. I mean, that's very dishonest on his part.
He knows because of his own background, Jesse. 100% he knows. Okay. Is this because he's your guest, Sean? Okay. We get that. There's a way to do that. You can say, yeah, I understand your feelings on this, Brian, but did you think maybe you should have done this, or this? That's all I'm saying.
Sean Ryan doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that you can just tell him, I got you covered, bro. And he's going to walk away and think that's fine.
And I think that's what should have been done, Jesse. I think somebody should have looked at Sean and said, so what would you have done? What else would you have done? You know what I mean? And we already know what he had done. With his background, think about that, you guys. It wouldn't have been what this guy said. He wouldn't have said shit about praying anything in, for fuck's sakes. Sorry, but this kind of irritates me. I'll be honest with you. Welcome, Ecliptic. I love your avatar, by the way. The audacity is I mean, if that's what you're referring to, I agree with you for sure. I do.
That was the chief of police for the UVU Police Department. We've called him. He's never called us back.
Holy shit. Does he have a name?
So you don't face to face. You can't just go face to face with somebody. Then that's in that situation. You get in somebody's face. I mean, Jesse, Cap. Okay, either one of you two. If we're gonna get together, the three of us, we're gonna get together and we're gonna go out in public to the world. We're on YouTube. People know who we are now. Jesse, you've been on my show many a times. For multiple years now. So people know who you are. You have your own channel. People know who you are. People know who I am, so on and so forth. So we're going to go out and do it in the public to meet people. And I'm asking you, are you comfortable with this, Jesse? Do you think that you have anything to worry about? Is there people that don't like you, blah, 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 so on and so forth? And we're on the phone with this and so on forth. And you're trying to get a hold of me over a situation like that. And I just don't call you back. Granted, our situation is different because you're in another country, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to try to get in my face and say, hey, what's up here? This is important to me. I need to know what's going on. You don't just let that go. That I wouldn't.
Well, and it's not difficult because he made an ambiguous request. He said, I believe he requested, can I get access to the roof or can you put some guys on the roof? It was an and/or question. And then the answer was, I've got you covered. So the immediate response, without even hesitating, right back at him immediately should be, so which one is it going to be? Are you going to put your guys or are you going to give me access to my guys? And if you're going to give me access, where do I pick up the keys? Who do I got to talk to? When do I get access? How long will I have access for? I need all, he talks about how meticulous they plan everything else out. He says they've trained all this stuff. They've practiced every scenario, but when it comes to getting access to the roof, it's just, I got you covered, bro. Oh, no problem. I'm going back to bed then.
No way. No way. Nope. It's not good enough for me. I'm sorry, but no. And again, this isn't even our line of work, you guys. I'm a YouTuber. Jesse does the same thing. He covers sports. This is what we do. This is not our thing. And we all know right here and now, this is not good enough. It's not nowhere near good enough.
Chief Long. And I didn't know if it said deputy in that or not, because in the correspondence or in his stuff on the website, it says Deputy Chief Long, but we just called him Chief Long. So it's like,
there's the answer right there. Thank you, Brandon. I said this the day that I first covered this. If you are unsure of your security in the circumstances here, the rumor was at the beginning that they only gave them 6 officers in the local PD. If that's the case, and you got 25,000 people showing up, I know that's not the number. I'm just giving you something out to the world here. And you know that you have 6 police officers as your security here. Nope. Sorry, Charlie, we can't do this today. This is not safe for you, for myself, or anybody else here. We're just going to have to reschedule this until we can ensure that this is a safe situation. Charlie already knowing that there has been death threats and other situations out there. His head of security knowing these things as well should have just said, no, we're not doing it. Let's reschedule. Moving on. they never even thought about that, in my opinion. I see you're having your delicacy over there, Jesse. I hope you're enjoying it. Jesse doesn't get peanut butter and jelly like we do here, folks. So it's a thing for him, and he enjoys it as often as he can. And I love the way he talked about it the first time, and it stuck with me, Jesse. So it's awesome. Welcome, Meg. Good to see you, dear. So that's my thought here, folks. And again, we don't do this, but this is what he didn't do. This is what should have been done, in my opinion. And they never even seemed to think twice about that. They just went right on with everything. And they can blame it on Charlie because Charlie's not here anymore and say, nope, he said, no, we're going forward no matter what, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Again, your job as the head of security to ensure his safety no matter what. So you override that. So I don't want to hear that excuse. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I got guys that are 10 times more qualified than what he could have produced for us, probably. They
So
wouldn't have done
literally
it
all they had to do is post anybody at that stairwell
or
put a drone up or
let us.
let you do your job.
Or let us. You know, our team is built.
Would it be okay if we put that
Sure.
screenshot of that text
Absolutely.
up for everybody to see?
Absolutely.
So they know it's real?
Yeah, absolutely. And do a FOIA for his phone.
That's a good idea.
Do a FOIA. Do a FOIA for his phone and have those records put out so everybody can see them. Do a FOIA for the communications for days leading up to it. Do it. And the truth's like a lion. You set it free and it'll fight for itself.
One of my favorite sayings. Last question before we take a break. I just want to ask, were you understaffed or I mean, was anybody sick? Did you have what you needed?
Yeah, we usually had
This was
been
the same as every other event.
No,
Same-
no, we upped it. Yeah.
You upped it.
Yeah, we upped it. We usually would run 8 to 9, depending on how many movements and how much movement inside. And so based on no articulable threat, but just the current world situation prior to that day, we upped the manpower to 12. And then we had actually a 13 there that came in the drive party. And so, but yeah, we upped it based on nothing because it's like, all right, but we're in a kind of a place where we don't want to be. We're expecting a big crowd. It's the first one. We don't want to get behind the 8 ball. In security industry, it's a prevention industry, not a response industry. It is a response industry, but it should be a prevention industry. So we're there in the prevention model. And so you can see if you pull the schematic up, the placement I put for our guys. And on that day, thank goodness we had them because where the tent was that Charlie was under, there's a giant walkway above him. And when we were doing the walk that morning, one of the things that didn't come out in our advance was there was giant rocks that they use for architectural design all around there. And so we're seeing these rocks on the ground and it's like, oh, people can come by and pick up these rocks and then throw them down on us and throw them down on Charlie. And so we did a temporary criminal trespass zone right above him on that bridge walkway so that people couldn't come in it and throw rocks down on him. And so, but the problem is that we had to get PD units in here to take that area of responsibility. And we told them, hey, just like out there, we need you here to have oversight coverage.
Anybody, whoever's backstage, I just ask that you show your face for about 30 seconds before you jump up here, and then you can turn your camera off once you're up, so I know that you're good. Oh wow, well you can go fuck yourself. Bye bye. You want to use that language in here? Good luck.
Not that guy again.
Oh, you should see what he used in the background. Go look at it. He said, "Yeah." It's all good. More trash. More
Oh
trash.
boy.
It's kind of a weird thing to say.
Oh, you love that, don't you? See what I mean? Some of these people are just trash, garbage ass people. It's a joke.
It's not a hard, wall or anything. And so you need statutory authority under Utah law to say, hey, you can't come in or you can be arrested. And so the PD came and did that. And then we had one, Scott, that did a hellacious job on making sure they stayed there and did their job. And so thank goodness we brought extra people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we upped our manpower for that one. Due diligence was done. It's weird in the security industry. I get calls all the time and they're like, hey, we want to run a security detail, and we want, 10 guys, former SEALs and operators and SWAT guys, and we want up armored and this and this. And then I'm like, all right, here's what it's going to cost. And they'll call back, all right, we want one guy and a Toyota Sienna, and so it's budget's a factor.
Yeah.
And we eat a lot of money every year based on, hey, last minute non-approval of people, but let's bring them in just to save our asses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a regular thing. And so we had people for our assignment, and our assignment and our people's assignment was carried out meticulously. I mean, you had Dan next to Charlie, and Dan's only job is exfil. And you can see when Charlie got shot, within 2 seconds, Dan had his hands on him to push him down to the ground. And then within, you break it down forensically, like within 5 seconds, I was on top of Charlie. And then you saw our team actually doing exactly, falling back on top of him.
This statement Robert made is true as well. And I get it to an extent, okay? But they had them there for a reason, and they didn't allow them to intercept. Not that they could have done anything, folks, because they couldn't have. Okay, there's nothing you could have done that wasn't already being attempted. But there's a lot of issues with that whole situation as well that we'll get into. Just saying, isn't it? Good point there, Robert, for bringing that up. Thank you.
And collapsing back on top of him. Not one radio comms came out. It's unneeded. They all know their jobs.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into actions on.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sore arches, pinched toes, and aching knees. Does that sound familiar? Brunt? We're getting ready to cover timeline and security during the event actions on. And so could you walk me through the security setup for the event?
Sure.
Who was placed where, what you guys are seeing?
Yeah. So we come in and we look at setup in the mornings. And like I said earlier, the guys are all part of it. So there's intimate knowledge. Every guy has intimate knowledge of the setup. So we come in, we do the placement of where Charlie's going to speak from. And that's kind of like the ground zero. And then we build out from that. And people in the security industry, you have this thing called the concentric circle of security theory, right? And it doesn't have to be a circle. It could be a line or a moving box or however you want to work it. And you have zones, and you have a permeable zone, a semi-permeable zone, and a non-permeable zone. And so you can come in on the fly and set up these zones. And so we come in and we set this up. So Charlie's tent was on that right in the middle. And then we start, so you want to start at the very back. And so we started with a non-permeable zone, but it was one of those ones where it's mainly visual, and it's just tape across this arrival section. And all it is caution tape, but it's just to keep good people good. That's it. And we know that. And so, so that's just to let people, the foot traffic out, that we know people won't come in there. So that if somebody's doing something bad, they stick out.
Mm-hmm.
And then inside that zone, we place our vehicles, and you can kind of see it on the aerial, or you can see it when you see the footage. We put those vehicles behind Charlie's where he's speaking for a reason that day. It's called CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. The worry was that somebody would come down that same driveway and just run him over from the back, or run people over. So you stack those vehicles so that the vehicles are being used kind of like big HESCOs or something.
Barricades.
Yeah, barricades. And so that people can't get to him that way. And then we start, then technically that's, semi-permeable. We still cover it's like, hey, people could walk through there, but they have to be knowns. And then we went with hard bike racks. So hard bike racks then that come all the way across the back, and they're linked together. And so those bike racks keep people from coming in and out unless they're vetted. And that's where you would start the non-permeable zone. And then we put a guy there, and he physically is there to watch that. His job, that's his area of responsibility, is he's back cover. He's making sure people aren't coming up from behind us. He's making sure that the right people can come in and out. They didn't have to be back there. And we're not talking about a large area. We're talking an area that was maybe 100 feet across, maybe more. And then there was also a police officer back there. We didn't request him to be there, but he showed up. And so we're like, hey, might as well utilize you. And so he just held the position on the far left side.
Hold up.
Yes.
Is that not a massive red flag? What about Senior Wachowski? A police officer shows up. We didn't request him to be there, but he said, hey, I can help. Shouldn't you have nothing to do with this guy? You don't know who he is? How are you going to vet, anybody in a cop uniform shows up and you're just going to stick him right in? Like, I mean, it seems to me that if you're not supposed to be there, I don't care if you're the president of the United States, get the hell out of here.
We don't do that. That could be anybody. That you or I could have dressed up in a police uniform, showed up and said, hey, I'm here to help.
I'm assuming if Senior Wachowski showed up in his uniform, they'd tell him to bugger right off, which
Exactly.
is exactly what they should do. That seems extremely suspect, that some guy just showed up and we didn't know he was going to show up, but we just let him run roughshod over our operation.
That's highly unprofessional, Jesse. Anyone who was non-approval would still be fingerprinted, been run on the fly, and they would know everything about whoever in an hour at most. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Gotcha. Well, again, I still think that for a situation like this, though, you would have to have like a background checks, fingerprints, all that kind of shit. You don't know who's going to pop in here that wants to wear a security guard uniform or whatever. It could be anybody somebody that could have attempted that. You know what I'm saying? That's an act, anything. It could be anybody, you guys. I can't even think. But huge red flag. I agree.
I watched too many movies, but guys dressed up in cop uniforms doing the dirty is a big
it happens all the time.
In every movie, including Snake Eyes, which Charles Kirkland was shot by a guy in the stands, right?
Yep. Very good point. Very good point. Yeah, you can't just do that. You know, that's a time-consuming process. It just doesn't happen in 5 minutes. Yep. Okay, he has a badge, so he's good. Let him go. You can't do that.
It strikes me as odd that a cop would even want to show up and ask to get involved. Like, why would you even do that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I agree with that. Definitely. Kind of, it's got to be a red flag. At the very minimum, it's got to be a red flag. Yeah. Yeah, he just said it. Cops dressed in cops' unis do the dirty, so you just never know. Good. I mean, we know. Look at Idaho, folks. Jesus Christ. Look at Karen Reed's situation. We know there's dirty cops out there that will take any opportunity they can to do whatever they feel like they need to do. So it is what it is. And again, you don't have to be a cop to have a uniform, folks. Understand that. And or a badge. I can go down the road right now and come back with an FBI badge if I want to. Secret Service. Local law enforcement. It doesn't matter. They make everything. You can get anything you want any way you want. That's all there is to it.
It gets into the meat and potatoes of it, because number one rule of protection detail work is evade and escape. It is. If we can evade or escape any threat without having to confront it, it's a win.
Mm-hmm.
I told you that time about getting shot at with the shotgun. I was pissed because I didn't get to shoot the guy back, and went back to the PD, and I'm throwing shit and whatever. And my sergeant said, "Hey man, you won. You didn't get shot at, or you didn't get shot. He's in jail. You won." Well, that's kind of the way you have to look at that stuff in protection work. It's like, hey, let's evade and escape. And so things are set up that way. And so you have where Charlie sits, and then you have a guy right next to him, and that person's solely responsible for, in times of need, pushing him, moving him, getting him out of that line of fire, or that those actions, escape and evade, throwing him into that exfil vehicle that's parked right behind where we're at. And then you'll see we ran two double barricades, and those barricades are presidential style barricades. They're hooked in, the same kind you see the Secret Service use. And so we have an outer layer, and that first layer is just to let everybody know, hey, you can't cross this. And they're physically, keeps them from pushing over them. And if somebody comes over the top of them, you can see it just from the mirror elevation change. And then we create a secondary row of them with a gap in the middle of it. And that gap in the middle, though we didn't like it, he liked that because that was able to show, hey, there's nothing between us, right? There's nothing between us. Let's carry out this conversation. But so I have two guys that are at that gap when they come up, and one of them's a measure of a man who has physical capabilities that are incredible. And then the one on the right side is a jiu-jitsu guy, a world-renowned professor. And so their job is, if somebody tries to press through that gap or get close to him, then they're going to hold them up. And then just off their flanks are two other guys, and Blake and Blake. And those guys' sole job is to control access into that alley. And also, if somebody tries to breach the integrity of those two guys, they're there to apply violence so that they can hold that, and we won't weaken our stance. So those jobs are a response to apply violence on those people that are trying to weaken our stance. And then they're also access control into that little alley we've created. That alley creates a secondary gap, but it also allows us to vet people, make sure, nope, you can't bring packages in, no water bottles, check for protrusions, all that. And so when they come through there, and they're the gatekeeper there, right? So on that one side, he comes in, he makes sure And then they come down, they passes off to the next guy, and he comes up to the microphone and speaks. And then when he's done, he goes out the other side, and that guy makes sure he moves on. And then the guy Blake on the other side, make sure he goes all the way out. And so they have those guys are dual rolled, where they're there. If these guys have problems, they're going in to apply violence so that we don't lose any integrity of our protection, so we can facilitate escape. And then they're also gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get deeper in the crowd, and there's the guys that what they're looking for is walk-ups. The guys that are walking up close.
They're in the crowd.
They're in the crowd. They're working
plainclothes.
Yeah, they're plainclothes. They're working in the crowd. And Rick's over there, and Rick's job is to watch what's going on here, and in turn and apply and look at the line. And you look for things like military age males that aren't having social contact with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So they're up there, but there's no looking around. There's no talking. They got prey gaze on the guy who's talking. No blinking. So there's a hard prey gaze, no blinking, or when you get closer, it's excessive blinking. And so that's a good tell right there of a pre-incident indicator of violence. These guys are out there doing that. All of them are doing it in real time. And so, and you're looking for that.
And how many of those guys are there?
We have in that right so far, we've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All
right. And then we got those guys out in the crowd. We got Scott working it over on the flank to make sure people from above are not throwing rocks down on people. Chris is over there with them. You got Justin and Alex holding that hard line. You got response to violence guys right here. You got intel gather, a guy out here, and making sure there's no walk-ups and or people that would walk up and physically want to apply violence in close proximity. And then you start we had to rotate some guys because we had people coming in and exactly doing that. Started pushing up signs, started chanting, started creating distraction and making problems. So we pushed a couple guys over just to keep an eye on that. And those guys are doing direct reporting. So they're the ones that are saying, hey, it's 14 of them, or they're just doing signs. And so they're giving us real intel in real time. And these are also the guys that they're working the outfield. And these guys they're out there for a reason. These are seasoned guys, these 30-year cops that have shown, and not cops that are just in there checking boxes. These are guys that went to work every day, and they're like, my job's to catch bad guys. How do you catch bad guys? By doing work. They're work finders. And so that's why I put them out there, because they know how.
So that explains that part of it. We're going to move into the shooter timeline and things like that. That's more important. Now we know what he had in the crowd. Sorry. And what their job was that they failed at. Okay.
Let's also touch on the drones, because
we're going over that too.
Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah, we have. Let me see how this is all broke down. I hope if I went past it. Oh, yeah, I can go back to that too. The drones and the Overwatch and stuff like that. I will definitely go back to that. So, in fact, I'll go to that now. 1 minute here. We'll go there, and then we'll jump into the timeline for the shooter and stuff like that.
Ourselves. And so initially, I spent thousands of dollars on drones last year and got guys licensed. But if the area lies in the Provo, Utah airspace, I can't fly it. That's a 107D. We can't break the rules. Right? And then you had secondary restrictions.
What'd you say, Jess?
That's false. All you have to do is write an application to fly the drones. Apparently, the process takes just a matter of a couple days. And also, that's only for full-size drones. The smaller recreational size drones, you can still fly them. And then, in fact, they were flying those drones that day to film the crowd.
Right.
The
That's
smaller
what I understand too.
So they had the drones. They could have been flying those. All they would have needed is to see somebody get up on that roof.
Yep.
And they would have been able to respond and pull Charlie off the stage. And they didn't need high tech anything. They didn't need a lot of personnel. In fact, I don't even think they needed the recreational drones. Like somebody said, all it would have taken is a janitor on the roof. And I don't even think you need to be on the roof. You could have been standing on the ground below the building, looking up. And nobody was. He knew it. He knew that it wasn't taken care of, and he just failed.
That 100% failed. I mean, it went beyond failing. That's one of the biggest things with this that bothers me is that was the one thing, the main thing, in my opinion, that should have been the most important thing as far as security goes. And it was the last thing, you guys. The last thing.
probably due to heavy foot traffic for the school, but I can't go in and break the rules. There's laws for a reason. And so now the school could have flown drones, the PD, but they didn't have them, right? But Orem PD has a drone unit active and professional, and that police department, I will tell you right now, is awesome. They get it. They were there. They helped both on the soft side and the hard side. And so I started asking questions like, do you guys have a drone unit? Yeah. Good. Do you have an MOU or a mutual aid agreement with the school? And they're like, yeah. I said, did they call you and ask for assistance? No. I'm like, why wouldn't you call? And then, so, that's one. So I can't go in and break the law. I can't make my guys break the law. I can't go in and do something that would jeopardize their.
Do you have any idea why they would say no? I mean, was this malicious? Was this being malicious?
I don't know
Charlie?
if no's the right one. I would say, did you ask? Did you ask this awesome PD that would probably help you in a heartbeat that you have an MOU with? Did you even ask them? And the answer was from them, we didn't get asked. And then so table the drones, which would have been awesome. Absolutely. I believe in them, but I can't break the law to do it. We're out there not only protecting them physically, but I have to protect the reputation of the client also. And that's a whole separate thing of protection. So the drones would have been awesome, but I can't break the law. They could have used them. They chose not to. And you got Overwatch, snipers on roofs. I got guys that are qualified. That's their career. But this is not a State Department job. I don't have an ITAR, and this isn't Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
This is Utah. I can't go in and set up, observation points with snipers. That's against the law. I can't break federal and state law to do what we need to accomplish. So that's their job. Our job is a close protection bubble. And there's a saying on this, and there's areas of responsibility, and we cut up the areas of responsibility in this pre-meet, or, when we start doing the advance. All right, we got this, you've got this. And so, they have that Overwatch capability, and they have an MOU for SWAT for that through Orem, not utilized. Don't know why. That's a question for them to ask. Why didn't you call? Or why didn't you ask for assistance, especially when this crowd grew and grew and grew? I mean, good police tactics. If you're out and you have 6 guys that show up, and all of a sudden this thing goes from 1,500 to 2,000 to 3,000 people, you go, hey, we need some help.
Mm-hmm.
Follow your pride or whatever it is. We need some help. I took 12 guys there. I had double the amount of people there that the PD had. And we're only responsible for the first 30 meters in movement in and advance in and receiving and out. And we had 12 guys. They gave me 6 for the.
More excuses is bullshit, in my opinion.
We're only responsible for the first 30 meters. 5 minutes ago, he was talking about how he just spent a bunch of money on drones. Drones were covering that first 30 meters, or were the drones covering further back than 30 meters? I find it, again, he's the expert. I don't know anything about security, but 30 meters, that seems a little bit, flies in the face with what seems to be reality.
The only thing he's covering is his own ass.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say.
And he's not doing a very good job of that either, is he?
Because we're obviously seeing it for what it is,
I can't see anybody watching this interview and hiring this guy to do security for them.
Like I said, if he knew, okay, he knew what this guy did was he knew that this wasn't covered, okay? He knew it wasn't, but he took a chance thinking it'll be all right, and it fails.
So you kind of have to wonder why he's even doing this interview, right? Like,
yeah.
Because it doesn't appear it's doing much for his reputation.
No, I can't imagine anybody hiring him or his team at this point forward.
No, and the more publicity he brings to him, like, we know his name now is Brian Harpole. Mm-hmm. If he didn't do this interview, we wouldn't know the name of the guy who was the head of security, right?
Yeah, right. It would have never affected him, but now you threw yourself to the wolves, bro. You did it to yourself.
So you got to question his motivation for doing this interview. Is he running cover for something other than his own reputation?
That makes perfect sense to think of it that way too, Jesse, because what else makes any sense? I mean, you're basically you're standing with your own feet at the fire, bro. What good are you doing with yourself here? You're not, this isn't taking accountability. This is talking about how you failed in every aspect and how in the future, why should anybody trust you? because I wouldn't. Period. So it's nuts. Senor says this guy is allowed to do this and blame Charlie, but if we question Dylan not calling 911 for 8 hours, we're victim blaming 100%. Sadly, that's how it works, Senor. Go ahead, Jess.
One guy with a pair of binoculars looking at the higher elevations could have prevented everything. There was plenty of time.
Yep.
There was plenty of time.
It could have been a retired guy that doesn't have the physical capabilities to actually fight people or do self-defense. He's talking about all these SWAT guys and jujitsu experts and all the, could have been one of your senior members of your company that is not active anymore, just sitting there with a pair of binoculars. It's a good point, Jenks.
That's all you needed was one guy circling the area, looking back, or maybe two at the most, okay? Looking at two different angles, watching the roofs. That's all you needed, period. End of story.
That should be security 101.
Yeah.
I mean, the rooftops over there, and some of them are only, 200 yards away?
Right.
And that's supposedly where it was shot from, 200 yards away about. But yeah, it makes no sense not to watch the higher elevations all the way around. Binocular just scanning.
He's already acknowledged that he was focused on that rooftop and he realized how important it was to have access and monitor that rooftop. And then at the end of the day, he just fails to do so.
Yep.
Messed up.
Absolute failure, 100%.
Yeah, messed up.
Rest of the campus.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so that's not the question for me to say, why didn't they? That's the question for them. And so there was that one.
That statement right there says it all. Right here.
I mean, good police tactics. If you're out and you have 6 guys that show up and all of a sudden this thing goes from 1,500 to 2,000 to 3,000 people, you go, hey, we need some help.
Mm-hmm.
Follow your pride or whatever it is. We need some help. I took 12 guys there. I had double the amount of people there that the PD had. And we're only responsible for the first 30 meters in movement in and advance in and receiving and out. And we had 12 guys. They gave me 6 for the rest of the campus.
Jeez.
So he's putting all the blame on PD. That's what 100% what he's doing when they had truly no blame in this, because this is his job, guys. He had one job and he's blaming it on everybody else. So go ahead, Cap.
No, I was going to say that communication is important too, because with the Butler situation, the PD could not reach the Secret Service.
Right.
Because they were saying there's someone on there, and they can't get through Secret Service. So I don't know if this security team is actually in communication with the PD over there that are helping out. That's another thing that they haven't mentioned. Is everyone on the same scan?
They should be on the same frequency.
Yeah.
Have perfect communication, 100%.
Yeah, patrol the outer perimeter or whatever,
So why is he saying they weren't allowed drone? Right. Now I know what you're talking about, Ecliptic. Yeah, 100%, Cap. You are absolutely on point, sir.
Yeah. And so that's not the question for me to say, why didn't they? That's the question for them. And so there was that one, the site, man, it wasn't up to us. 2 drones. I can't break the law to do something I want to do. Otherwise I'd have showed up with an APC.
Yeah, guys, if you notice, this man is taking all accountability and throwing it somewhere else. Not taking any of it for himself at all. None.
Well, with the drones, I mean, you were in coordination with local police department, correct?
No, that the UVU has jurisdictional authority. It's their campus. Orem is the outside city. They weren't there because they hadn't asked. They hadn't been asked to come by, and we can't ask them to come. I can't call Orem PD and say, hey, man, send me 10 guys. I can't do that. I don't have the authority to do that or the budget.
Mm-hmm.
But the city, the school PD has an MOU or mutual aid agreement with them. Why not just call them and say, can you guys send us 10 guys over here for Overwatch, all that? And I say that only because we had previously talked about areas of responsibility.
Mhm.
And then the area's responsibility, and our guys all have not only an area of responsibility, but there's a job in a job. So you have your area and you have a job for that area, but then you also know the guy's area and job next to you in case he goes down or something, you have to backfill him. And then we have the bubble around the protectee. And mathematically, 2,000 people are in front of you. Where's mathematically the threat coming from?
The front.
Right. And so we're looking for walk-ups, people walk up, setting down a package, walking away, displaying a firearm, everything from throwing balloons full of piss to erratic.
I got to stop there, though, because mathematically, this is where the problem lies, in my opinion. You need to think outside the box, okay? Not just the 2,000 people standing in front of you. Of course, that's a problem. You need to think outside that bubble, because that's typically where the threat's going to come from, because they know that bubble is protected. So somebody's going to be coming from outside of that, and that's what needs to be thought about on the outside.
Well, he was thinking about that. He already talks about how focused he was on the rooftops, and then just let it all slide. Yeah.
Most of your regular police aren't trained to do personal protection like that either. So
right,
it's Secret Service, private security firms,
special security. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they could take police. They could take a few members of the police department and have them trained in that in case a high-profile person comes in and they need backup. But most of them are not trained on that. What to look for? Not to say they're bad cops. They're basically there after something happens.
Yeah, right. And see but that's a problem, though, Cap. That's his job. This is all his job that he fully and totally failed at, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep.
Acid. We've had all kind of stuff thrown on us over the years. And so there's a reason why those things are set up that way. And there's a reason why those guys that day were set up around there. Every guy has a job. Every guy has a detail. Every guy knows the guy's job next to him. And so you look at things like that. In that shooting position, 3 meters to the right and 10 meters to the left, there was no shot. And so I want to know when that guy got on the roof.
Let's put the visual of what that looks like on the screen right now.
We took that shot before.
Really?
We always do. We sit down in the space and we take the shot and send it back to Charlie so that he can see what he's going to see. Yeah, and that's a routine thing that we do.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's mental preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's a visual of what you guys
correct
were able to see.
Yep. And so here's my question, and hopefully it'll come out in timeline. All right. We've all seen the pictures of the guy when he came on through the staircase.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, there's a difference between a guy walking up and getting on a roof and a guy walking up and getting on a roof. And did he run over to a known position? What you're doing there tactically is you're working a loophole. You guys did that on a roof. You bang a hole through one side, and then you step back and you put another hole and you shoot through that hole when that opportunity comes through. This is a big loophole. And so you tell me you just ran up onto a roof, pop yourself down in a position that was in a loophole.
Can you describe that loophole again real quick, just now that we have the visual up so people can see it?
You get up on this Sorensen Center, not Sorensen or Lucy Center, that's behind the Sorensen Center. And so from where we're standing, we can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's not our area of responsibility, so that's why we're not looking there. First one, we're looking at threats right in front of us. You see how many threats do you have in front of you right here?
Once again, not our area of responsibility. I'm sorry, you guys.
The whole thing is their responsibility.
Thank you. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's the biggest problem with this guy.
Geez, that's the whole thing is their responsibility. It's not just, I'm just going to look at people in the crowd.
If it was not his area of responsibility, he should maybe explain why he was asking for access to that roof.
Thank you. Everything in this is your area. It's your responsibility to make sure everything is covered, whether it's your responsibility or not. So the way he keeps throwing in here, first of all, that's not our area of responsibility, but no. You're trying to cover your ass. Stop. It's pathetic.
Maybe that's why Chief Long didn't give him access. Maybe Chief Long just thought to himself, well, actually, it's not your area of responsibility.
Yeah, there you go.
Chief Long should release his statement.
100%.
Saying exactly that.
I would, especially if you keep throwing me under the bus. 100%.
Yeah, well.
About
3,000.
3,000.
Right. And so that's what we're looking at. And then it's kind of like you could be in front of an 18,000 foot mountain and there's a 36,000 foot mountain behind it. You're not going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be cognizant of that. And then if he would have stopped just a little bit to the right, he wouldn't have been able to see it because the source and center would have been in the way.
I mean, it's a very specific point.
Spot.
It's not just, which is what I thought. I thought it was just climb on the roof and you've got the vantage point.
So you're telling me there's enough blind ass luck that you ran up there, didn't crawl.
What'd you say, Jess?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. It overlaid. Sorry.
You didn't get up. He didn't get up there like the secondary guy that tried to shoot Trump, where he was bugged down in the weeds for a while. This was a boom on, boom run to, boom take the shot, and it's like, did you get all that off?
I mean, it had to have been rehearsed to find that. Which I believe you said is basically did you say 7 foot vantage point basically had?
Oh, I'd have to.
It's small.
It's
Whatever.
small.
It's
It's
small.
not big.
There's the visual. Who gives a fuck? It's a small area.
It's not something. And then
You would have to search for that. You would have to search for that vantage point if you didn't know. So it would be great to see the footage. Maybe it's out there of him running straight to the point, or did he search around looking
exactly
for
what
it?
I want to know. Do we have?
It'd be great if that chief of police would have put that fucking drone up.
We'd have had it, or I'd have flown that drone up his ass if we could have had one. So those are questions I have. Those are tactical questions. I mean, we make our guys do that kind of stuff all the time. Yep, no, you're going to run 300 yards. You're going to jump over this wall. You're going to come home.
Yeah.
You're going to take this shot with ours is about 35-foot declination at 200 yards. And you see guys that are even trained miff it every once in a while. And people are like, oh, that's an easy whip at 142. I'm like, yeah, the shot itself, but you're talking about old men that shoot stuff all sand.
I'm sorry, guys, but that vantage point itself is probably the worst vantage point and should have been looked at more than once and protected immediately. Okay, it was straight on. Think about that.
And that tent, the way that tent is positioned, in my opinion, it should have been more forward, or Charlie should have been back more in the tent.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it as being a deterrent, like in Butler, they use the flags. You see they have the cranes and they hang flags on them to make points you can't have, for shooting. But his tent should have been more forward, or Charlie should have been sitting back more.
I agree.
Where that front of that tent hanging down would be more of an obstacle. It would make for a harder shot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to be able to get under and around it. Again, making it harder, but they didn't. It was a dead-on shot, you guys. That's insane. And it was completely unprotected. That's what blows my mind. Almost as if it was done on purpose. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Bags. You and I both know, under duress, accurate shots are different.
It's not 142 yards is not a difficult shot with a magnifying
not at all
optic. It becomes more difficult when you're winded, when you're climbing, when you're running, when you are nervous,
visual noise all in front of you,
when you're wondering if anybody else is seeing you. I mean, there's a lot of induced stress. And, and I just want to, I mean, we're looking at this thing right now, this first person view of what it looked like from under the tent. And I mean, I don't know how long he was in that gap for, but it didn't sound like it was very long. And you have 3,000 other threats that you're looking at, the rooftop supposedly being covered by the police. Maybe it would have been a good idea to confirm that the police had the drones up. But I mean, you are talking to the chief of police. You would think that he would have the fucking drones up.
We knew there were no drones, but then somebody earlier that day flew a drone up.
Correct.
Yeah.
So actually, you probably wouldn't have confirmed because there are drones up.
We didn't know where it came from. And we're like, what's the deal with this? Now, it's not uncommon for the video team to throw a drone up and then take a quick shot. And we've had that before. Now, their drones are different because they use those little bitty ones. And so they're not covered under the requirements. And so it's like, again, yeah, you're right. Do I need to call a grown ass man and say, hey, are you doing your job? Do I need to do that?
You should.
Yeah, when you're the boss and you're the head of this entire thing, you sure do. You need to make sure of it before anything goes down. Once again, failure.
Shouldn't.
And, this is, it's.
Especially a man in that position.
And it's like, hey, man, I'm not a fan, but Bill Belichick won for a reason. He told his people, hey, do your job. And hey, if you don't want to do your job, that's fine. Do the job you said you were going to do. How about that one? So that's kind of where our guys are set up on there. And then I was to Charlie's right.
There's a lot of chatter on the internet about hand and arm signals, from the security team. There's been concerns about it from my own personnel that work here. I've worked security details, done a lot of sniper work.
Did you ever use hand and arm signals?
I use hand and arm signals every single time on every detail, everywhere I went. And, one of the rumors was, he's got the ball cap. He did the ball cap wiggle. That's the Marine Corps sniper. I've done a lot of sniper operations. Nobody wears ball caps.
So that was my lead question. You ever use hand signals? And it's like, yes.
Yes.
Were your
and you had already established. I'm going to cover for you here because this is a rumor that I just fucking hate.
I know
because that is what it takes. You can't be on the radio all the time because you're tying the net up. We had already established that you had other security professionals within the crowd that you're trying to communicate with, and that's how you do it. That is how you do it.
Well, I'll speak to this one. You're using hand signals, or if you were to use hand signals, and those are an option, especially like under MBG or things like that. One, are those hand signals normal ones that you would see during normal gesticulation? Are those definitive hand signals?
Mm-hmm.
They're definitive so that they can't be confused with a guy scratching his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the first one. The second one is that hand signal. When a bubble team is there, we're not using hand signals. Sniper details, absolutely. Why? Because you can see that. Are we looking around at each other looking for hand signals?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at in the front in our area of responsibility. If we needed to relay a message, then we would, hey, right here on comms. We're notorious for, if I need to get somebody's attention on the team, I'm not going to sit there and use a hand signal. If he's in my line of sight, I'm just going to go like that. He's going to look up and I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I looked up and did a hand signal on the team and did that or that, he's going to look at me like, so what do you want me to do then?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for that's not good communication. It has to be definitive. It has to be necessary.
It could be an acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yep. Receive.
Get me out of here.
Yep. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. And what you're doing there is deliberate. Yeah. These are deliberate. Yeah. So no, we don't use hand signals on that one. We didn't use hand signals that day. We've never used hand signals other than the general ones. Here, 2 people here. None of that was done. None of that was done. You had Frank Turek and people messing with him because he adjusted his hat. It's like, okay, and substantiate. All right, so he touched his hat. There were a line of people in the front and all the other people that also did all kind of things before that. It's like everybody's subject to that. I get it. Man, I'm a huge, and I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but I do believe that there are things out there bigger than you and I that are in operations.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact. I also am a huge believer in the First Amendment. And so these people that are out there saying all this, back up, why is the First Amendment so important? Because back in the day when our founding fathers said, man, why do we need this amendment first? And because a voice is an arms for people that don't have arms. That's what it was for. It was a collective or a single voice could be powerful to a hierarchy of people that can't be conquered with an arm. So we have to have this voice and we have to protect this voice at all costs. And they said, and they wanted us to have that. And that's why they put it first. And it should be used as a shield. Well, nowadays with the media and now social media, that right has been used as a sword and the sword of public opinion. It's like, hey, well, let's just put a bunch of lies out there and claim First Amendment. And we can say whatever we want. And it's like, when's that stop? And literally whatever you want. You've seen some of the idiocy out there. Palm gun, exploding microphone, hand signals. It's like, it doesn't even have to be true and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just using that First Amendment as a sword and not a shield. And we gotta step back at that and look at it. I was talking to you guys earlier and I was like, at some point you put those people in the Wayback Machine. And the Wayback Machine is you take them to 1985. And when people said something that was untrue about you or your family and they said something bad about you that other people heard, you split their lip.
There's a consequence.
An immediate consequence, not a consequence that comes through a lawsuit 3.5 years later, an immediate consequence, so that a level of respect is gained. And then also, hey, if you do this again, I'll see you next time as well. At some point, some people need to be put in the Wayback Machine.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesse's got to take off, folks. It's 5 a.m. where he's at. We'll get back to it again, Jesse, and have you join us, and maybe I'll be able to do it a little bit earlier for you. I wasn't even thinking about that, so my apologies. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you soon, sir.
Definitely.
Take care, Jesse.
Agree with you on that. What? So let's talk about the immediate response. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
Could you tell it was gunfire?
Yes.
How could you tell?
I've been around gunfire my whole life. That's the first one. And so, and there's a different type of gunfire, right? We were at Berkeley last night, and you heard somebody decided to pop off some bunch, and they were loud, like 6-7 M80s at a time, and people started panicking and running. And one of my guys, look, I said that's not gunfire. It's a different sound. You have an attribution of sound, and so you're used to it, and having a range, and so you're around it, and you even get to like, well, that was a rifle, that's a pistol, that's a big boy rifle, that's subsonic. I mean, you can PID all those with your ear. You know, I'm no sniper, but you're out there hanging out with those guys, and you get that sniper's ear pretty quick because they say, hear that? That's what that is. And so I've got my back to Charlie about, I don't know, less than 10 meters off to his right. And my area of responsibility, we had a lot of people coming up some staircases there, and it was starting to fill in. And so I was watching that, and I remember I heard the gunfire, and then I don't know if you've heard this, but I heard that bullet slap him. And so so you hear two sounds actually. And so you hear the actual shot, and then you hear the bullet hit him in the neck, like you hear it. And so in my head, I had an attribution to that. Oop, I know what that is. And so I turned, and when I turned, started running, that's when Dan grabbed him. And I mean, this is a live fire event. It's not, everybody thinks in hindsight, well, this is a one-shot assassination. No, in our heads, there's
You
fire.
don't know what that is.
There's fire. There's more to come, right? And so Dan grabbed Charlie, and then
Who's Dan?
Dan was the guy standing right next to Charlie when he got shot on the stage, and then I was to the right of Dan.
Okay.
And so he grabs him, and then I turn and see him start to the ground, but then I'm just thinking gunfire, and then he's leading to the ground because I'm on his right. Well, he was shot right here in the left of his neck. And so I jumped down on top of Charlie to cover him, because where we're at, it's concealment at best. It's a tabling with cloth on it, so it's not hard cover. And our guys are starting piling back in, and they're down, putting a human shield around him, but it's still just concealment. It's not cover. And so I initially dove down on top of him and just was on him almost face to face. And then when I was doing that, I went down, I could see the wound. And so I immediately shoved my hand into the wound to stop the bleeding, just trying to find the pressure. And it was coming out still. And I'm on top of him, like close. And it was still coming out enough that it squirted through my fingers, and I could taste it on my lips. And so I was like, man, this is a bad wound. Right. And so I was just pushing that. And I don't know at that time. I know when you look at the clock, I was on him within 5 seconds and had my hands in him. And then I don't know when I put the first piece of medical on him. It was sometime after that, because I carry it right here. That's why you carry it on you. You got to have it there. So, but then I remember pulling back away and thinking, damn, this is bad. Like it's coming out. And I don't remember saying this, but the guys told me, and you can kind of see it on the video. I said, prep the car. And I just prepped, and you see the two guys just take off. And that car's prepped in position, but what I mean, doors are open, yeah. I mean, the whole deal. And so we're doing pressure control there, and it's a carotid artery, so you can't put a tourniquet on it, obviously. And in my head, I'm like, pack pressure pray, man. These are what you can do for that wound. But then, so I'm on top, and then I told the guys, we got exfil. We're all out here in the open. We're trying to give wound care, and we got to get off this X, right? And so, but I just said, we're exfilling, And so we got up, I think it was like 15, 16 seconds from the time the shot happened to the time we were picking him up and headed.
15 to 16 seconds.
That's what it was. Yeah. And so
That's fast.
Yeah. And this is horrible, but
It's fast to get an initial assessment, plug a hole, pick them up, move them.
yeah. And so it's just like, dang. And it's some horrible realities of it too, that like I told the guys this and I haven't. When I jumped down on him, he had doll's eyes. And so I was.
Trigger warning. This video includes sensitive and violent content that may not be suitable for all viewers. This video is for 18 plus only. Trigger.
Like, man, these are wounds incompatible with life.
You know.
Yeah.
You want to take a break? Let's take a break. You want a minute?
Good.
We could have turned the damn camera off of him. Jesus Christ.
You've probably seen the headlines. Another $1 trillion added to the national debt. It's hard to even grasp the scale of
it. Understand, but I think it's later. And
I mean, I hate to get graphic, but that's that's how you do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember the eye thump.
Yep. And
so
if
there's no movement after you thump the eye. It's done.
Same. And so at the time, I mean, I broke down just then, but I think
what he means, you guys, by the way, when he said he looked down, there's doll's eyes. You can tell he's gone. That means there's no life left. Okay. I'm trying to explain how I can. There's been many a times that I've been on a scene that I've been working somebody. That's our job. Once you start working somebody, you don't stop. Okay. Until it's called. Period. If that means you scoop run and you're in the squad all the way into the hospital or whatever you're in doing, you don't stop. But at one point, you can look at the eyes and see that there's no life left in that body. They're gone. That's what that means. And it's rough. Doll's eyes, SRB, when they're fixated and there's no movement, there's no nothing. That they're called doll's eyes. So that's a bad feeling to see that. That's all. So just so everybody understands what he meant by that.
And some of my close friends had told me I didn't weep a tear after that for like 3 weeks. Not, it's like, hey man, I was like, yeah, there's a time for that. These guys, the guys I'm with, we've seen a lot of bad effects of violence. Messed up kids, guys that stick things into kids and just horrible people, right? And you compartmentalize that junk, right? So that you can, you got a job to do. And then sometimes those things, when you open that box, they come out, right? And that was one of them. So, I'm sure it's good for me at some point. But so we get back to that. And so I'm down on him and I don't know if when it sprayed me in the face, it caused me to flinch back or what, but then sometime around then I said, hey, prep the car. And you see two of the guys just take off towards the car. And then Gibby and Rick and Dan and I said, hey, let's exfil now, and so we get up in the timeline on that. It's like 15, 16 seconds, something like that, where you can see we're prepping. But the problem is direct pressure, right? So when you're in a medical deal and you've been in I've had these before on major accidents and GSWs, when you show up on calls, is you can't give direct pressure and move, right? And exfil. And you have to have counters, like giving CPR. You can't give people CPR like that. You have to have something. So it's like, hey, okay, well, let's just get in the car.
You can't.
Yeah, but then
you can't apply direct pressure to move either because it's the neck and there goes the airway.
Right. And so
and it's just it's damn near the worst.
And then place. And then you don't give first aid when it's raining on you still, right? Or this first shot, second shot, how many more is coming in? So, and so I was like, hey, let's just call for exfil. So I called for exfil and said, hey, let's go. The guys had prepped the car. So we're carrying, we trained officer down, I don't know how many times, or, person down, and we were carrying, and you can see it on the video. Rick breaks off at the perfect time. He goes around to the other side, jumps in. We do the drag. Don't try to shove the guy in. Half the team pushes in, the other half team drags from the other side. There was no comms for that. We just knew. He knew that's what we need to do. We've done that. He's done that. We've got careers built on doing that, real time and in training. And so guys weren't helping. Justin gets in. He knows his job is to drive. That's his job. Dan jumps in. He knows he's nav. And so we're back there. Rick, we pull him across. Frank Turek, and it just jumps in the back. And so he's a known. So I was like, yep, it's Frank, but I'm not going to fight him on it. Frank's there because Frank's hurting, and it's one of those things where you have dead kids on calls and you're not supposed to let the crime scene be contaminated, but I'm not going to deny a parent the ability to come in and say goodbye to their child. And Frank's many times said that Charlie felt like he was his son. I'm not going to deny him that. All this is running. And so we get in. Charlie was a big man, long. We kind of laugh about it now, but we get him in, and but the door's not going to close. We know that. And I just say, go. And we didn't even attempt to close it. I told Justin, go, go, go. So he takes off. Dan's already got the route done. We know that because we've done it. And so we take off in direct action. We get out onto the main road, and we're in a slick SUV, no lights, sirens. And so we're breaking our own intersections. We're cutting our own traffic. We're doing everything ourselves. Justin's driving. I mean, he's trained driver. I mean, that's what our guys go to driving school for, just for that. It's expensive. It costs a lot, but it's a need. And it paid off because he drove it like a champion. Dan's up in there calling out right lefts. Well, this is next turn, 20 meters, 200 meters left. So he knows exactly where he's going. Rick and I are in the back. And this is where it gets not funny, but you look back on it now. Rick pulls Charlie across, and then I'm working off my kit. And you always, when you build a kit out like that, you build it to where the stuff you need the soonest or most important is on the outside, right? Mm-hmm. And so all the bleed control is right here in front. So I'm just working out of the kit right there. And so I'm just, packing, pressure, repack. It gets saturated, take it out. You just keep packing on top of it. The problem is we're going down the road, and Charlie's so tall.
Well, there's a mistake right there. If that's true, what he just said that he did, you don't do that. Let me replay that to make sure that's what he said.
Right lefts. Well, this is next turn, 20 meters, 200 meters left. So he knows exactly where he's going. Rick and I are in the back. This is where it gets not funny, but you look back on it now. Rick pulled Charlie across, and then I'm working off my kit. And you always, when you build a kit out like that, you build it to where the stuff you need the soonest or most important is on the outside, right? Mm-hmm. And so all the bleed control is right here in front. So I'm just working out of the kit right there. And so I'm just, packing, pressure, repack. It gets saturated, take it out. You just keep packing on top of it. The problem is we're going down the road.
Okay, so you don't pull old. The only time you pull is if you absolutely have to. If it's completely saturated, you just keep building on top of it and keep constant pressure, direct pressure. Because if you pull, you're going to lose more blood. Okay, so you try not to pull anything out. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know. That just bothered me that he's.
And Charlie's so tall that his left leg is down in the door, and the door won't close. And so I'm on my knees with the door open, with my butt hanging out of the side, and I'm on my knees doing the medical. And Justin's driving. We're going 60, 80, 100, and Rick has me across the kit in my shirt so that I can use both hands.
See, what he should have done is he should have sat down first, and they should have laid Charlie on his lap head first. That way, if Charlie's legs were hanging out, he would have been sitting down. He could have worked applying constant pressure this way. Whatever, it doesn't matter at this point. I'm just saying that's how we would have done that.
Hands to do the medical on. And
so I don't fall out of the fucking car.
So I don't fall out. And I just look at him, and I don't need to say, you got me. He's got me. I know he's got me. Rick's a brother. He's got the tattoo. And so I was like, he's got me. And so I'm just working medical. And Frank's praying out loud. Rick's praying out loud.
But does he have a pulse at this point?
So.
I mean, there's no way.
in a situation like that, I'm not going to stop and take pulse.
I didn't know if somebody else had one or
no. And so I have SpO2 monitor there. I've got all the stuff for it. I could have put it on, but it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
It's irrelevant to treating that wound, right? And so I've got to stop that bleeding. That's my primary thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so where he had a pulse, then it's unknown. The body's an amazing thing that can do things even when it's technically, destroyed. And so my concern is bleed control. And so I'm just, Rick's got me, Justin's driving, world's coming by. I'm working, but I end up putting about 36 feet of dressing in him, and then 4 4x4s and then 2 hemostatic 4x4s.
Sheesh.
And then just pressuring the whole time. So you're adding just pressure as much as you can get, adding pressure. And so we are heading to the hospital. It's a known. We're heading there, breaking intersections. We picked up a tail from PD somewhere along the way. And I know some audio came out about that. And I think they thought it was a secondary person that had been shot, but we didn't know it was an active shooter. Everybody that says, oh, you should have treated him there and not moved him, stopped the bleeding. I'm like, well, yeah, I know. Same way. I was like, man, no, that's not, medicine doesn't happen on the X. Nothing happens. Somebody shoots at you, you get off the X, right? And so, and we didn't have cover.
Just for anybody that's listening, that is rule number 1, law enforcement, military, security, anything, get off the X.
Yeah. And
more rounds are coming in.
Yeah. And so, we get to the hospital. Actually, we make it to the hospital through the traffic. We've got full wound pack in. We get out and we carry in to the door. Once we make it into the door, we see a gurney on the left-hand side. We put him on a gurney, and then I wheel him into a room. I start giving the patient information to the staff there. I end up getting on top of him and cutting the shirt that he had off, that white Freedom shirt. And so I cut it off so they could get to him, so that I didn't articulate this to them, but I wanted to get that stuff off so they could put a defibrillator on him. And so, and then started talking about pushing drugs. And so I was back and forth with them on drugs and defibrillator. And so then, once you get that shirt cut off and moved out of the way, there's enough of medical professionals in there. And so I just want to get out of their way. And so I got out of their way and walked out of the room and stood outside the room and held guard on the outside door of the room so nobody else could come in there.
Covered in Charlie's blood.
Yeah, I had it all over my face. And, Rick and I had it all over our arms, and from about here down was just covered. And and it was, I feel bad for the hospital staff, because we showed up looking like that, and they didn't know we were coming, even though we called 911. But I don't know what happened to that. So we show up and guys got blood all over their face and carrying a guy with blood solid on my pants and shoes. And so then I just stood out there, and then finally this lady, and I feel horrible. She came up to me and she said, "Hey, come with me." And she took me in a room and physically washed my face and my hands and stuff. The nurse that was there at the hospital. So it's like, man, what humanity,
man.
So you saw a lot of beautiful things, a lot of beautiful things. Rick was there. Same thing with him. He's going through the same thing. He's covered in it, and Justin's there. And Dan was there, and everybody's got this look of bewilderment, like, hey, and so I told Justin, I said, check on the men and call your kids, because I was worried about them. Because when we left, our guys went back into the crowd because they didn't know, because everybody was on the ground. So those guys that were still there, they went back in the crowd searching for other victims.
No kidding.
Yeah. Because they didn't know, because everybody's just laying there frozen. And so once we got out of there, they went back in and started searching for other victims and people that had been shot. And so I didn't know their status, and it was horrible, compoundingly horrible. When I jumped down on top of Charlie, my phone came out of right here. And so of course I just left it. I didn't know it came out. So I get to the hospital, and I don't have the ability to call my children and tell them I'm okay, or my parents or my fiance.
He's talking about the humanity of the other people within the emergency room busy, not beautiful things in the other aspect. I get what he means. I've been there. This has affected me, I'll be honest with you guys, because it's bringing back stuff that I've seen and I've dealt with too. So this part I understand. It's rough.
And when I travel abroad, in the old CONUS job I do, I have a workup, and it's all the numbers and everything, and I have it hidden, and so I can call. But CONUS job, and I mean, I can still remember numbers from when I was in high school with my friends, but I just don't remember numbers nowadays. And so I couldn't call them, and so they're at home just suffering because I can't call them.
Yeah, man.
So I was like, man, I can do better than that, you know. So finally, got a hold of my ex-wife, and then said, hey, from somebody else's phone, I think via like Facebook Messenger or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, hey, we'll figure this out. And then said, hey, I'm going to call, answer the phone. And my daughter answered the phone, and she had already gone to her house waiting to hear something. And so there's obviously concern in her voice, but I said, hey, I'm good. I'm fine. I'll call you when I get a chance. And so
All right, so we understand that part again. Like I said, this is what flashes the PTSD issues with me when I hear stuff and see stuff, because I go back to things I've dealt with physically myself, hands-on, and it's when you realize you've lost somebody, it's rough. Okay, it's just it's a hard thing. That's all I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying I don't know what this guy's gone through. I don't know exactly what he did, how that all went down. It wasn't there. I know me personally, hearing stuff like this, know what it's like to go through that. So there, in turn, that's the problem. So anyway, my apologies for that. So we're gonna move past this part. We've heard enough of that. There's other things here that he goes into. This next thing here is, I don't know, interesting.
Do you think that the entry wound looked like an exit wound?
no, it was an entry wound.
Why do you say that?
So one, there wasn't an exit wound because I remember rolling his head over and cleaning it so I could see if there was an exit wound. And then I was having to open the wound up some to get more and pack it. If you've ever done an exit wound, it's not that hard. It's a lot bigger. And so you can feel it when you know, the rule of kind of thumb on that one is you don't want to make it bigger, but you got to keep packing it in there. And so, yeah, I've heard and seen them all. Like there was a guy that said, you know, that the mic blew up and it was a bomb.
Yeah, I was going to wait. Yeah, there is a guy online that is saying that the microphone may have had some type of explosive projectile inside of it.
So it wrapped around the neck and created a hole.
That's the thing that I just couldn't wrap my head around either, is the accuracy that would have to take place from an explosion to actually get you in the neck. But then other people are saying that there was maybe the explosion killed him, and that in fact there's actually some camera footage that somebody has done some type of assessment on. But I mean, you cut his shirt off.
Right.
Did you see any burn marks?
So
Did
that's
you see any indication of any type of explosion?
Back it up even further to that. You've been around explosives and shape explosives and stuff like that. It's like, what do you have when you have that? They had that down to like frames, right? Where was the flash? If that was an explosion, where was the flash? You have oxygen exchange to create the explosion. Where was the flash? Where was the char? It didn't exist. So
do you know if his equipment is assessed before it's put on?
Yeah, it's actually held up there. That company that is a subcontracting company for them, they hold that all up there because, you know, and they're around it, almost guarding it because people will steal it. And so, and it's inside the non-permeable zone.
Okay.
So nobody has access to it. It's set up in there. Even the boxes are kept in there. And so it's inside that. And so it's on them. And then you can see, they walk up and actually pin it on him. So that system is integratized also. And again, it's a reach. Go all the way back to where's the explosion? You got frame by frame.
I'm, when that theory came out, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily out of the question. I mean, we know about the pagers,
Absolutely.
But I mean, the way I looked at it was he was wearing a loose fitting t-shirt that had I believe the road mic with the magnet, strapped onto his shirt.
On the other side.
Yeah. He's moving around. And so that, that microphone, if it was a projectile, it would have had to have been pointed at the exact same spot, which would have been impossible to do with a loose shirt.
Right.
And then there would have been an entry wound. It wouldn't have gone to the other side of the neck, but and then, there was it was a trigger man, with a device to initiate the blast. But still though, I mean, to have him moving around like this in his loose shirt, to have a piece of weight while he's moving around. I mean, you could not.
Probability.
It would be a coincidence for it to actually happen the way that it did.
Yeah.
It would be a coincidence. It would not be. I don't think you could chalk that up to skill, unless the explosion is what killed him. But what you're saying, no flash, no blast,
no char,
no burn marks, no.
I will say I don't believe that theory of it, just based on what I saw when I watched the video itself of when he was shot. I don't think it was that, but I don't think it was what they've told us it was. So we're going to move past this. Media mistrust and transparency. This should be interesting.
Harry took an ass whipping online because he went out there and said, and he did exactly what we're talking about right now. And people whipped his ass for telling the truth because he bucked the system. He said, "No, look at this." And he broke it down from a professional standpoint because he has a background in it and a probability standpoint. And I hadn't talked to him, and he was like 95% right, even on the medical stuff. And it's like, but then he took an ass whipping online for it. And I sat and watched it from afar. And it's like, so people get chastised for telling the truth. And then you got, like you said, who do you believe? I mean, our media, big poll. They polled our people in the United States. And how many of you believe the media? And said 70% of them don't believe a word that comes out of the media's mouth. And I'm like, well, let's look at this.
And I believe for good reason. Why should we believe a word that comes out of the media's mouth? Because 93% of the time, it's not true. So we have no choice but to not believe them.
If a baker makes bread every day and 70% of his product tastes like crap, how long is he going to be in business? And then why do we keep letting these people be in business? And then, so that's the big media. You think that's worse online? And then who's to blame? The idiot that's lying, or the big Facebooks, Instagrams, and X's that are making money off them lying? And then they're monetizing the lie too. It's kind of like back in the day. You had the National Enquirer that made money offline. They sold the little cheap papers. All these guys are, and these things are our version of National Enquirer, and they're monetizing that lie. But then I said, man, guys, you're losing the value of how important that is. You could be the Watergate guy that breaks the truth, but you're taking that away from people. It's like, be the one that tells the truth. Be the paramount tactical guy that's willing to take a whipping to tell the truth.
I think, I've talked about this a lot recently, but, I think you have to be willing to poke holes in your own story. You can poke holes in everybody else's story. That's fine. But you also have to be willing to poke holes in your own story.
Great way to put it.
You should be poking holes in your own story. If you are really a truth seeker, you should be poking holes in your own story along with everybody else's.
But where's the oversight to do that?
Exactly.
It's gone.
Put a couple guys in the Wayback Machine and you make it down quick.
That's true. But
and you're covering up the trap door, and we had a guy hiding in there.
Okay, that's actually my next question. I didn't hear about there was somebody hiding in the trap door.
Gun was hiding or something.
There was a trap door or something. Was there a trap door in a tunnel system?
No.
There was not.
No. So, school, why'd you tear it up? Why did you tear it up? What was the exigency to tear up something that still people would? Did you not think that through? Like, hey, we might want to put a hold on that. This might induce questions to us. And it didn't. Nobody went back and asked questions to the school or said, hey, well, let's do a FOIA and do some back digging on that. That's not protected under this evidentiary gag order. Now let's just blame the security team, because that's the easy way. Go do the FOIA.
Back to the exit wound thing. You know, I mean, because we're talking about the tearing up of the crime scene and everybody's wanting them to find the bullet. I mean, if the bullet hit any bone at all, there is no bullet. It's just fragmentation.
Great point.
And
that was discussed already.
And if there was no exit wound in the autopsy, though, there should be. I mean, if there was no exit wound, then there should be fragmentation of the bullet would have fragmented into who knows how many pieces.
The doctor, and again, this is not a non-disclosure violation, but the doctor came out there and told us. And then they also told the chief of staff. So the bullet came in and hit the vertebra. So it came in and then tore up everything in the wound cavity, hit the vertebra, crushed it, shattered it, turned, crushed the second one, turned, kept going down all the way. I think they said C6.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's like, why not put that info out? Why not put it out? And then
why wouldn't they put that out?
And if it do me a favor, don't make me do it. It's not my job. And so then it got to here, and you're exactly right. And then hit, I think, 6 and then fragged. And so explanation 101. What are you hiding? Yeah. It's like I'm sitting back here when people are saying we bombed him or there's a wound. I'm like, hey, if somebody would, from an official capacity, would just release that. And I don't see how that could jeopardize a fair trial for a guy. And or somebody called the doctor. Somebody just call him.
Well, that was an uncomfortable.
This guy, George Zen. Are you familiar with this guy?
Is he the one that said?
He is the performance immediately after the shooting. I believe he was saying that he had the shooter. He's also a witness to 9/11, called to the bomb threat in Salt Lake City marathon. I mean, he seems to show up at a lot of historic
incidents, right? And then gets arrested, and then later gets arrested for child porn after that. And so that was a weird deal because that came to us at the hospital. Hey, they have somebody in custody, and I'm like, awesome. And then our guys helped hold that perimeter area while they were arresting him. And I want to say they held on to some gear or something. I'd have to double check with them, but they were there assisting the police for that because they're still in there in holding the crime scene. Yeah. And so how did this guy get there? And they did the search warrant on his house and they released it. It's like, hey, dump his phone and release that too. Dump the tower information and release that too. I want to see who he was talking to 2, 3, 4, 5 days beforehand. I want to see what towers hit. Yeah. I want to see that. Yeah. I want to know, who is this guy? Why is he around?
All these things. What questions do you have?
You
had some good questions about Robinson.
Yeah. I want to know. I want to know who this kid is. I don't want to know that he was did something that feeds a narrative of hate and division, that he was his boyfriend was trans or whatever, and that they had text back and forth. I want to know. It's like, all right, where did he work? And then who were his coworkers, and did they interview his coworkers? And then I want to see his phone logs and the towers that it hit. I want to interview his friends, and did he have any help? They said, oh, well, we have DNA on the rifle. And I want all that information. That's a good tie right now. From a judicial standpoint, I can understand why they're saying, we don't want to put all this information out because the judge said it may taint a potential jury because they're going to seek the death penalty. And I'm like, from a book standpoint, I understand that. But you got a lot of people out there wondering, hey, did this guy do it by himself? And then you throw my wonder on there. It's like, wow, so he just, the rooftop was clear, and then he jumped up on it, acquired a shooting position, took the shot. That shooting position was a loophole. It had been 5 meters this way, or what? This way wouldn't happen. And then can we go through his phone or his computer and find a Google Earth overhead that he was looking at it days, weeks, months before? Did he access that before? Because obviously it's a problem, because that's how we came upon information, that it's easily accessed, and how we gave it to the chief to say, hey, chief, you got this, right? I got you covered. So that's information we need to know. I want to know about this kid. I want to know if somebody helped him. Is he a patsy? Is he, was there a group of people?
What's a patsy?
Is he taking the blame for other people? Or is he, is he part, is he a lone wolf? But then we all thought Timothy McVeigh was a lone wolf too, right? And then we come to find out, people knew about it. He had assistance. Even if it was assistance of, we knew you were going to do something and then we didn't say something. So yeah, I have questions to him. I have questions, and this is horrible because I'm a father. I have questions to his father.
Aren't they saying that he took the rifle apart with a flathead screwdriver?
That's a big one. I want to know. And it's like, I know there's footage out there, and I don't know what to believe and how it got down. It's like, all right, I want to know that. How did the rifle get from the roof to where they found it? That's a big one. How did the rifle get from the shooting position all the way back across to where they found it?
And then it was reassembled when they found it, correct?
I don't think that it ever was disassembled, because even an
I'm
even
not
an AR
buying the
platform,
shit.
think about
You
it.
know what I mean?
Pin, break,
Yeah.
pull. It's going to take a bit. That's a bolt gun.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm getting at.
Right.
Is
It's not going to happen.
I probably should have been a little bit more descriptive about that for
So I want to know about that.
non-shooters.
Yeah, and and there's other things.
Enthusiasts.
Yeah. I look at that and I look at a lot of things that are going on at Turning Point, and because I've seen people say that Erica was involved in it, his wife. I've done a lot of death notifications where I had to tell kids that their parents were dead, or their parents that their kids were dead. And I know what pain looks and sounds like. I wake up screaming sometimes, thinking of kids' faces. The words that came out of her mouth and how they came out when she walked in that room and saw him, you don't want to hear that. She's a victim. That's her husband. And now people without any proof are saying that she was a part of killing him. Come on, man. And then not having anything to substantiate it with. That's what makes me lose faith in people, and that we allow it, and that platforms allow it. It's like, it goes against everything that we are. And if we're going to allow that, what else are we going to allow? You hear that kind of pain come from somebody and see it. And I can only imagine the pain she's feeling now by having to hear that people say that she was a part of it. Those are lies. And so then we have that organization. It's got this huge power vacuum going on now. And I'm sure it's affecting it. It's affected me. And so that's an organization with a lot of great people in it, doing good things. And so where do we draw the line to people making allegations of bad behavior? It's a huge question. I mean, could you imagine? Think of this for a second. You've lost friends. And could you imagine somebody reporting that one of your friends, his wife, was responsible for their death? What would you want to do to him?
All right. So that's where we're going to drop that one there. That's the end of it anyway. But that's pretty much.
You know what's going to say, Dago, that
yes, sir.
The president that ran the National Enquirer, he was the head of the CIA counterintelligence.
Yeah, right.
Do you know that?
I have heard that in the past. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, especially to be in that position and then to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a wild statement for sure. Really wild. So I don't know how many people had seen the interview with his head of security, so on and so forth. I know a lot of people have issues with this guy. I had watched half of that before. I didn't get through the whole thing. And I was, like I said, I wasn't going to watch the entire 2-hour thing. I wanted to skip through in pieces. So just saying. There has been a lot that has happened within this situation here. Give me a minute here. I'm going to give you guys a couple little updates that have popped up just recently. There has been a whole lot of, I guess, chaos surrounding this with Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk's team, per se, Charlie Kirk's wife, that guy that we just watched, so on and so forth. A whole lot. There's a slight update I want to throw at you guys that just dropped last night about this situation. For those of you that are following it, I wanted to throw this out to you real quick. If you haven't seen, 1 minute.
Kirk show finally, the Charlie Kirk show finally addressed the mountain of very public, very viral accusations coming from Candace Owens. Here's a clip.
There is always something new coming up, and none of it ever pans out because from the start, there has been nothing there. The attacks and allegations from Candace are either lies or they are innuendos thrown around with a total reckless disregard for the truth so that Candace can manipulate and string along an audience of people who don't realize they are being played. Instead of being able to grieve properly after one of the most heinous murders in American history, a murder many of us had to witness, my friends have had to endure harassment from people who have gotten whipped up by what Candace is saying. In fact, I would say we have suffered more harassment from these people than we have from Antifa supporters who overtly celebrate Charlie's murder. And just like a lot of those Antifa members, many of these people take this delight in how gross and unpleasant they can be. What our friends have had to endure is not funny and it's not insignificant. It is evil. I have seen it.
CBN's Billy Hollowell joins me now. Billy, what did you think about this podcast?
I thought it was interesting that they spent about 7 minutes going through a list of things, very specific things, because really Turning Point has not said a lot publicly. Obviously, understandable in light of what has been going on. There's an investigation going on. There will be a trial. There are a lot of moving parts. There's grieving going on, but they haven't said much. So for them to sort of list out all of the things they felt had been done wrong and the things that they felt were being misrepresented. And then we'll talk about the conclusion of what was offered in that conversation to Candace. It was very interesting to watch. And it makes me wonder, now that there's been a response, what is her response going to be to that?
You know, I've been reluctant to wade into this water just because, gosh, I feel like there's something happening here that's way deeper than just what's happening on the surface. You know, we obviously have mutual friends like John McCrae from What Do You Mean, Ruslan, who have addressed this. But to me, I don't know Candace Owens personally, but I have this kind of sadness about it where, you know, when Kanye West put out that album a couple years ago about God, it was like, wow, this is incredible. The music felt Holy Spirit inspired. I'm like, this is amazing. And then like fast forward and he makes a song called Heil Hitler. And it's like, whoa, that just went off the rails really fast. And some of the things that Candace Owens used to say in all of her sternness and, bluntness, I was like, yeah, like get after it. Like, amen, preach. And then I feel like something happened in like 2024, maybe theologically, more so than politically or emotionally, something happened where, again, I don't want to say too much because this isn't necessarily an opinion story, but I feel like something happened. And ever since then, there's just been this, I don't see the joy of the Lord in her face. I don't feel like it's coming from a place of peace. And man, what used to be just solid point after solid point, even forcefully, has now morphed into this rage bait where it's like the Egyptian plane and French people are killing and the Utah school and Trump and Eric Kirk. It's like, and I've been reluctant. Obviously, I'm a unashamedly lover of Israel and the Jewish people. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Israeli by any stretch of imagination. I no DNA. I just love Yeshua and I love Scripture and I think God's up to something with Israel and the Jewish people. So it's been heartbreaking to see kind of. Gosh, I don't want to say too much because I don't want this to become like a more rage bait, more clickbait. If Candace, if you're watching this, and I'm praying for you. There's something that's, gosh, I don't even know what to say right now, Billy. I hope that the warmth and the joy that used to be in your eyes would return. And when it comes to all the conspiracy theories, I'm not here to say what's true, what's not. That's obviously what Turning Point and the Charlie Kirk Show is here to do. I just hope that, I don't know. I pray that there can be a more constructive, more healthy, more edifying way of addressing what is the assassination and the martyrdom of Charlie Kirk.
I think, what you have going on here, just so we even get back to the podcast itself, they essentially offered for Candace to come to the studio to go point by point through all of these things that have been claimed, that they at some point soon, it sounded like, wanted to do a live stream or some sort of stream from their office, and they invited her there. And I do think that, they kind of said, well, the ball's in your court now. They said, you kept saying the ball's in our court, the ball's in your court. It is interesting because if somebody truly does have receipts to the things they're claiming, well, then that would be the venue and the avenue to air those receipts and grievances and have that conversation. So I don't know where that's going to go, but I do think that people need healing from this. This is a horrific, one of the most horrific tragedies that we've seen in a very long time. One of the most horrific assassinations in American history for sure. And we've lived through it. Many of us knew Charlie to some degree. If not knew Charlie, knew people around him. This is painful. It's already very difficult. And so being able to put some of this to rest, because when you have somebody who is assassinated the way that happened and the pain that comes with that, you're heaping more and more pain by having a debate. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a discussion, and there can't be. People can ask questions, they can say whatever they want to say, but at some point there needs to be evidence to back the claims that are being made. And so it sounds like they were open to having an opportunity to allow the parties to come forward and provide that evidence.
So that's a response to what has been going on with Candace recently. A lot of people have a lot of issues with that, with her, with the whole situation in that aspect. So just saying.
She usually has documentation a lot of times, though.
Yeah, she definitely usually has
She's
in the past.
she's big on that.
100%. I agree with that one.
Eventually you got to back it up.
1 second, Cap. I'm looking at something. Yeah, I agree. All right, sorry about that, Cap. Yeah, 100%. And I would think to make accusations in that depth, you definitely should have some kind of backing of it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
1 minute, sir. I'm trying to grab something. I'll be right with you. Okay, let's see here. 1 minute. Okay, so they're going to allow Robinson to wear civilian clothes. We all know that now. With restraints and all that fun stuff, yes. Just 1 minute here. I'm real curious about where that has gone, by the way. Welcome, you guys. Now there's something that came out. Where'd it go? I was trying to find it was sent to me a while back. 1 minute here. Okay, so somebody sent this to me because I planned on covering this a while back, but we got wrapped up in other things. But a channel by the name of Hala BFT put it out. It's about the autopsy results destroying the FBI narrative of Tyler Robinson as the shooter. I don't know if anybody has seen or heard this. I'm curious. I've never watched this yet. I just had this. I was digging through stuff. Sorry, that's what took me so long, Cap, to find this. I don't know what everybody's thoughts on this are, but let me see here. They're going to show certain things about this, and I have my own theories about this. The fact that he was shot with a 30-06 round, and the way this all went down. This is what my issue's always been. Eddie was here. We talked about the gun at one point in time. Eddie broke the gun down. Eddie had the gun. It doesn't. It just, something's not right with the ammunition, the rifle itself. It just bothers the hell out of me. So this is only like 15 minutes, guys. This will probably be the last bit of this for today. I have to be back here in a couple hours with Outcast, but I'm coming back. We're going to be doing more of this coming week as well, because there's more things I want to get into with this. So, you still there, Cap?
Yep.
Gotcha. I don't know how much of this stuff you followed along with, but this is kind of interesting from what I've understood from it. So let's check this out real quick.
We now have a couple different influencers who have come out and confirmed that Charlie Kirk did, in fact, have an autopsy, which is what we really would expect. However, they are claiming they actually know exactly what is said in that medical examiner's report, and we're going to take a look at what this report actually says. And I got to tell you guys, I don't know how to put this nicely. If this medical examiner report or autopsy report is true, the FBI and the prosecution are, let me put it lightly, I guess, because essentially the idea that Tyler Robinson took the shot from where he took it at the angle he took it and caused the damage it did to Charlie with the round that's used is actually not possible. So this is going to be a very interesting video. Let's jump in. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps the channel. All right, let's do this, guys. All right, first thing I got to say up front, like always, is we are operating under massive assumptions here that this information is true. It is correct.
I have no idea, Lucy. I have no clue. I know there's a military background here. I see that on his back wall in there. So no idea, Luce. Sorry, hon.
Because I'll tell you, when it comes to an autopsy report, A, it's private. 2, it's evidence for a massive murder trial. And the idea that law enforcement are just handing this out to influencers, not a case. So this is hearsay through hearsay, okay, at the end of the day. Somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, all right? So take all this with a massive grain of salt. I'm not saying these people are liars. I'm just saying that's what we're operating under. All right, first thing we're going to take a look at is what this report says.
My understanding from speaking with a couple of people high up at Turning Point USA, they let me know that the injury took place right below the jaw in the C2.
Uh-oh.
The bullet crashed through C2 all the way through C7.
Uh-oh.
And then they found the bullet lodged in that meaty area around T.
Thank you so much, Murky. God bless. I don't personally believe that Erica has anything to do with Charlie's murder. She is truly distraught, but pulling it together the best she can for the kids in TPS. Turning Point USA, I think she has backstabbers. Good point. Thank you so much for that. Going towards our goal. You're an angel. God bless. Welcome back, SRB. Yeah, that's that. I did know he's a former Green Beret. That's a good point. That's all I know about this gentleman. Sorry, guys.
The thoracic first vertebrae.
All right, so I don't know Stephen Gardner. I don't really watch his stuff. I'm going to assume he's operating in good faith here and that he actually heard what he heard. And, you know, somebody else also came out and said that they've seen or supposedly heard about the same autopsy report.
I confirmed, obviously, because I have connections, and I confirmed that the autopsy was done. I don't want to say too much, but the autopsy yielded where the entry wound was and how the bullet killed him. It's already been determined. They found the bullet lodged in his body. They can tell you exactly where.
Welcome, Carl. Good to see you, brother.
What was severed, what killed him, where the bullet traveled from his neck down through his body. They have it all, fragmentation of the round that spouted through his body. They have all of that.
Okay, they have it all. They've got it proved. Let's see if this even works mathematically or scientifically. Let's jump into it. All right, guys. So basically a middle school math problem. This isn't that hard to figure out. We know that according to the medical examiner report, this 30-06 round came in, hit him in the C2, traveled down. All right. You guys are going to notice some huge problems with this right away, but let's go ahead and, just look at this objectively. All right. We got a protractor out. Let's put that right here on the C2. Okay. We do know, again, from where Tyler Robinson was shooting, it was a 9-degree slope with a 9-degree offset, essentially meaning almost directly on at a 9-degree slope, which we can travel out from our protractor from the C2 here at 9 degrees. Perfect. All right. As we pull the protractor off, what's the first huge glaring issue you guys are going to see here? Oh, well, if Charlie Kirk was sitting level, sort of parallel to the ground with his jaw, which he was, let me show you that real quick. All right, so we can see Charlie Kirk is not got his head all the way back like this. He's sitting pretty much flat, looking at the crowd, sort of jaw parallel to the ground as he gets hit. Boom, hit. So you can see that, right? It's actually a little bit of a tilt down even, okay? So let's look at this anatomically, right? This is essentially exactly how Charlie Kirk is sitting. And they want to tell you the medical examiner report confirms he was first hit in the C2 vertebrae right below the base of the skull. Biggest problem I see with that from the angle Tyler Robinson shoots him from is that would have hit him in the teeth or even above the teeth. There is no possible way that this round came from a 9-degree angle and a 9-degree slope and hit the C2 while not blowing through Charlie Kirk's face. It's not a thing. We also can see the C2 is not where that gunshot wound is. I can show you that right here. All right, as you can see here, yeah, he's got some tilt back now after he's been hit, but that round, sorry for my beard, that round is 2-3 inches below his chin. Okay, this round is not all the way up, just underneath the base of the jaw. It's pretty
Trigger
far down.
Trigger warning. This video includes sensitive and violent content that may not be suitable for all viewers. This video is for 18 plus only.
C4 or the C5 to where that round, to me, looks like he got hit. So big problems right away with this medical examiner report, but let's keep looking at this. All right, so we know this is not possible. Okay, this definitely didn't happen. But if we look at the actual sort of injury to Kirk, looks like he shot closer to about right here, okay, on that left side of the neck. Now, if we look at it this way, now we can make this work for the location of the shot if it entrance and hits the C5, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying it hit the C2, traveled down all his vertebrae. It doesn't work. Next thing with this, we're talking about a 30-06 round. Right now, you have this 30-06 round traveling at 24 to 2,700 feet per second, or even less, doesn't even matter. Hits him, let's say, hits him in the C2, if this magic bullet that doesn't go through his face somehow. That then refracts straight down into the T1. Yeah, that's not what a 30-06 round is going to do if it hits a human neck vertebrae. We know it's going to blow right through. But even if there was some weird refraction, bullets aren't going to refract almost 90 degrees. We've talked about that, and then keep their actual velocity to be able to do that much damage. Not really a thing. Again, so with just basic middle school math, we already disproved this whole medical examiner's report or the fact that the shot was taken from where it was taken, a 9-degree slope from straight on, Charlie Kirk sitting flat, parallel chin to the ground. Not possible. It would have hit him in the teeth, not 5 inches lower than the teeth. It's not a thing. So because we know that's not possible, if we're assuming the medical examiner report is true and accurate, now we have to look at alternatives to how this could have taken place. Okay, so let's talk about a few. All right, so I've seen a bunch of different people talking about now, because of this report, this has to prove that Charlie Kirk had body armor, because again, it's an impossible shot. It's an impossible angle that didn't hit him in the face, which, okay, that's kind of an interesting theory, but let's talk about that. All right. Now we're talking about body armor, which again is going to be down here on the chest. Again, 9-degree slope. This is still where the shot came from. Here's the entrance wound. Okay, let's talk about the possibility that the bullet refracted off his body armor. First, let's also make sure that we acknowledge it's been disproven he had body armor on. And not only that, TPUSA has publicly stated he had no body armor on. So if you're going to operate under the assumption he has body armor on, you are calling TPUSA nefarious liars. I'm not prepared to do that, because why would they purposefully lie about him having body armor on? That seems bizarre to me. But hypothetically, TPUSA is lying about this and he had body armor on. Let's look at it. Now we're still talking about a 30-06 round, okay? A 30-06 round that supposedly comes down, hits him in the body armor, which, by the way, if he had body armor on so small that you couldn't see it through that tiny little shirt, it wouldn't be strong enough to stop a 30-06 round to begin with. But we're in hypothetics here.
He was not wearing any body armor. That's ridiculous.
That then, okay, this almost makes me laugh doing this. That then refracts off the body armor, comes all the way up here at a 90-degree angle to hit this C2, and then re-refracts straight back down to the T1. Guys, bullets are not pinballs. They don't do this, okay? They refract and do weird things as they move through, but changing total direction in almost 180 degrees is not possible. This is Newtonian physics says that's not a thing, okay? So Again, I mean, even Rob O'Neill talks about body armor here, and it's actually what he talks about here is interesting because it actually is going to bring us into the next possibility.
But that was not an entry wound that we saw. We saw an exit wound. So where that bullet come from? You don't bleed like, and I've shot guys closer than the camera was. And an entry wound doesn't look like that an exit wound does. Why did his shirt move the way it did? When I've shot people, their shirts didn't move like that. And then the initial reaction was, well, he was obviously wearing body armor and it was deflection. One, no, he wasn't wearing body armor. And two, it doesn't deflect like that off of body armor. Why was his shirt moving from right to left? Why were people being interviewed saying, yeah, they came from my left to right, from his right to left, immediately shut down?
Okay, so interesting. Yeah, the idea that we'll talk about rounds too, because people say, well, it depends on the round, the 30-06 round. The idea that body armor, that blasts off body armor, goes straight up, hits his neck, comes straight back down. It's not a thing. It's not physically possible, regardless of what anybody wants to tell you. Okay, based off of based off of the medical examiner reports injury, is it possible that a round refracts off body armor at an angle and comes up into his neck? Sure, but not at that extreme angle, and then definitely isn't reversing 180 degrees and keeping its velocity. This is not how things work.
But he was not wearing any body armor. I don't care what anybody says. He just wasn't. I'm sorry.
All right, guys, before we jump back into that video, got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, our partners at Barbell Apparel, who make the world's best and most comfortable pair of jeans. And not only that, right now, guys, Barbell Apparel has their free hoodie sale. If you spend 90, comment in the description, pick yourselves up. If not work, but we're trying to examiner's report. Well, let's look at that. We know where the actual wound is, which is here. Okay, well, we know it can't have come from that slope. Again, it goes straight through his teeth. Not a thing, unless his head was like literally all the way back. So what would it take for this round to have hit him where it hit him as an entrance wound and hit him in the C2 first? We can find that out pretty easily. We can start at the C2. We can come down with our angle here, and we can see that it actually would take a 38-degree upward angle for this to have potentially hit him where it hit him and then also hit the C2 first if he was shot from the front. Does that make a whole lot of sense? Well, maybe if the tunnel theory works. I don't know. That one seemed weird at the time. And then also keep in mind, the round still has to travel then straight back down, which bullets don't do. They don't do this, okay, guys? You would expect a bullet to refract out this way, refract up this way. It's not going to reverse this massive direction back the other way, okay? So I'll make it very clear. If he was shot from the front, in the location he was shot, and it hit him in the C2 first, it had to have come from an upward angle. It could not have come from a 9-degree downward slope. It's not anatomically possible. But this makes other theories actually possible. Now, the really popular theory that Rob O'Neill just talked about, Range Day Bro has talked about, a lot of people have talked about, which I have not discounted at all, have talked about him being shot from up and behind him. This is very interesting because this actually, besides one little piece, which is that they found around inside of him, this actually potentially makes the medical examiner report work with the injury and ballistics that all potentially work. Let's take a look at that. The C2 is going to be just behind the jaw there, as we've seen it, right? Now, if he gets shot from the back upper right, and again, we don't know what that angle would be because this is all hypothetical, right? We don't know where that shooter was, but anywhere you would think around the way the buildings were, they're all about that height, anywhere from like a 10 to maybe 15-degree angle here. Now, all of a sudden, if he's getting shot in the back right of the head that comes beneath the skull, anatomically, this actually works. It comes in the back underneath his skull, hits him in the C2, and then blows out at a normal refraction angle exactly where we expect to see the exit wound in this case. That actually works perfectly ballistically, anatomically, to have created that initial impact into the C2. It probably blows down here through the C4, does some damage through C5, C6, through C7 through cavitation. The biggest issue here is this is an exit wound, which means there would be no bullet found inside Charlie's body. That goes against the medical examiner's report. All right, and then there's one final potential here, and that was actually brought forward by Peak Prosperity. This is a fantastic video if you haven't seen it either. And he actually had the theory that the shot came from technically the front, but from a much more drastic angle, almost like a 45-degree angle. So we can look at that here too. All right, now, so this theory states that it must have come from a far more horizontal angle, right? It's because the front angle doesn't work at all, which I agree with, to come maybe up underneath the jaw. Even then, it's going to be tough where this comes to get to the C2. I don't think you do. I still think you get in the C4, but to cause the actual damage at a much more steep angle, now all of a sudden, the refraction, as this comes in and comes through here, the refraction comes down and potentially works that way. That's actually a bullet refraction that makes sense. All right, but then the biggest problem we have with this is then this probably doesn't hit him in the C2 either. So where are we left? What's the problem? Well, the problem is that the official narrative with Tyler Robinson, where he took the shot from the angle he took the shot, like I told you at the start of the video, with the type of weapon that he used, is not possible and does not match the medical examiner's report anatomically or mathematically. It doesn't work. So you have to then either say the medical examiner's report can't be right or Tyler Robinson isn't the shooter. These things cannot be true at the same time as far as we're sort of understanding it with science and math and physics. So what's the real story? No. We don't know, guys. There's some very compelling things with a lot of different theories. But again, if I'll just say this to wrap the video up, if the prosecution thinks it is going to, unless they have some crazy evidence we don't have, but let's say this medical examiner's report is true and they're going to go with the official narrative. They walk into that courtroom against the Menendez brothers legal team, one of the best legal teams they could put together, and you walk in there with some stuff an 8th grader can disprove through basic math and a protractor. Good luck. Good luck finding this kid guilty. So this thing, again, no idea if this medical examiner report's actually true or not, but if it is, oh my God, this just made things
pretty interesting, I would say. Pretty interesting. I definitely got to say. Any thoughts on that, Cap?
Yeah, he would have to be farther to the right to make that work. Like
that's what I've been talked about with many people. Yeah.
Yeah, when if he's facing Charlie head on, he couldn't make that shot without hitting the jaw, or, the mouth area, and then down through the jaw. So, if he was all the way over to the right, and it came in from the right, hard right, at a whole different would be a whole different angle, different position.
Make perfect sense. Yes, sir. Agreed.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I can agree with you too. And it's been hard to believe for a while. I don't know that there's 2 wounds as far as an entrance exit. I think that could be the only one. I also have issues with the round itself being a 30-06 round because I think there would have been a lot more damage than there was. I don't know. Now, could this be a 22 round coming from an AR possibly? 100%. The distance, all that stuff. But there's just something not right. I don't personally believe that there's an entrance wound back here and an exit up front. That I don't believe. But I'm not saying anybody that thinks that's wrong. I'm just telling you from what my experience with knowing with things like that and guns and stuff like that, it doesn't match to me. But I agree with you. The angle has to be different, which would put it in a completely different spot and takes away from Tyler Robinson being the shooter possibly. So just saying.
Yeah, he wouldn't be over to the left or straight on, head on with him. He would have to be way over to the right.
Agreed. Yes.
And then it could go underneath and then down into the neck, if you understand how, what I'm saying. But
that's exactly what I'm thinking too.
I think, to the 30-06 is, I think that the ammunition would do a lot more damage.
It 100%, you guys. It should have. If that's first off, the entrance wound would have been bigger, but it would have. I don't believe the spine would stop it that way. Okay, I'm going to tell you that here. What I do believe is that it should have made an exit wound in the whole back of Charlie's back, possibly even a piece of his head should have been blown off. There should have been a very large hole in the back of him from that actual piece of that. Those bullets are big, folks. Okay, and they have a high explosion impact rate. Everything. It's just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. So that's why I struggle with that.
They said too that from what I heard was that they only got fragment of a bullet. They didn't get a whole bullet.
That's what I heard as well. And I like, where's the rest of it then? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, with just a piece of it, I don't know if it could be, you could still determine 30-06 to a 223, 222.
222, right. That's
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very odd, but we're going to come back to more of this, guys. We're at 3 hours, 40 minutes. I'm sorry. And I got to be back here at 9:30 p.m. with Mr. Outcast for a whole other show. I hope you guys are going to be tuning in for that as well. Please make sure to be here 9:30 Eastern Standard Time if you want to get into that with me and Mr. Outcast. I'm looking forward to that one. Cap, I really appreciate you joining me tonight for this. You and Jesse as well. I know it's early for Jesse, but he'd been up all night.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Stay tuned because next week coming up, guys, we're jumping into way more of this. I hope you guys are ready because there's a lot more to talk about. So thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to love yourselves, love each other, and don't change a thing. You guys are the beautiful people, and we will see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Take care.
Take care, Cap.
The coffee's cold, the final the city was asleep. The evidence lines up straight and true, a perfect picture of what they chose to do. The quiet street erupts in flashing light, a reckoning delivered in the night. SWAT serves the warrant, loud and clear, the sound of justice, the only thing we hear at the True Crime Cafe. We watch the suspect finally pay. The dark truth is backed and signed and sealed. The wound is closed, the name is finally healed. It's finally healed. The cafe's empty, closed for the night. We put the darkness back into the light. We'll wipe the counter, set the empty chair, and wait right here for the next secret laid bare. Until the next one.